I woke up. I woke up. I woke up. Woke up. I woke. 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 I woke. I woke. I woke. Uh, the stream just started, so we gotta wait for people to flow in, cause we about to get Actually, can we say retarded? I feel like we can't say retarded anymore. Why the fuck can't we say retarded? Y'all don't understand. Today's culture has restricted us in normal English language, even though retarded was a medical term. I get it that we used it for some derogatory material, but that doesn't defeat why are we streaming on YouTube, because I haven't done any YouTube related content in like over a month. And yeah, and I did promise I was going to try to be consistent about putting streams on YouTube and Twitch. YouTube gets the more like personal interaction ones, whereas Twitch gets the more gaming streams. Plus that, this might be the last one with this backdrop, and I figured, hey, might as well throw one in for the YouTube. I forgot to change the thumbnail. Fuck me. I knew I had forgot something. About Scarlet and Violet, I'm in a very weird position because Scarlet and Violet, we've heard things and we've heard rumors on top of the information we have officially. I think I've gotten to the point with Pokemon titles where I'm just kind of just chilling. I think the idea is that I'm sitting and waiting more than like giving innate reactions, because we're now going into the 9th generation. I'm just not. The excitement kind of left a while ago. Like Gen 6 was probably the last generation I was really excited, and that was mainly just due to the fact that Generation 6 was the first 3D gen, which ironically enough of the new generation Pokemon games is probably the most disappointing. Between that, Sun and Moon, which actually did intrigue me for a bit because of how different it was going to be, and then it ended up being kind of a mediocre experience. Sword and Shield, which I think is the best of the new gen we've gotten, and then Scarlet and Violet, which has the potential to be better. It just kind of depends. The burnout, I can definitely see that. I got burned out. Yeah, see, everyone has a burnout point. For me, it was generations 4 and 7. I think 7 was my worst gen. 4 and 7 have been my worst 2 generations. Gen 9, I'm not at the burnout point. But realistically, where I'm at with it is that I think the problem is that the Pokemon fan base feels the need to constantly play every game, and I think it burns out a lot of, especially you've seen it with content creators. When the games don't really rise to the occasion to everything else you're playing, it kind of makes you not want to play the game as much. Chat is burnout. But I'm like, give me more Pokemon. Everyone's at a different point when it comes to Pokemon. I'm not in love with the gimmick either. I think it's visually the least interesting gimmick. You've actually created a gimmick that was less interesting than what we currently have. So no, wait, no, I'm streaming now, Lightning. What are you talking about? If you mean in terms of streams, in terms of like a gaming stream, there's no point. For those who don't follow my Twitch, and if you don't, you should follow my Twitch because you get me more consistently on Twitch. On Twitch, we just finished Final Fantasy VI, but after this week, I plan to take kind of a break, so there's no point in me starting a new game. For burned me out, Pokemon 4 burned me out, but Platinum was good, and Gen 5 took it back to amazing heights that Gen 3 gave us. Exactly. The gimmick is probably the most uninteresting thing visually. I think conceptually giving Pokemon different types and shit is cool. I think it's just the way it looks visually I don't like. That's what I'm saying. Like like it's one of those things where it's the least visually appealing, but it's actually pretty cool competitively. And it'd be cool if it's, the problem is it seems to act the same way as like, it kind of reminds me of like Dynamaxing in terms of like the multiple turns and shit. And I'm like, I kind of wish it wasn't one of those. I don't know. I kind of wish it was one of those situations where you could pick it and then you go into a fight and you have to guess. It's going to be interesting and competitive, even though I'm not a competitive player. TSS, what I'll probably do, because I don't want to deny people the ability to jump in. This first, like, I'd probably say first hour or so, I'll just talk myself, and then I'll kind of let people join in on the second half to kind of go over some things, because I don't want to, I still want it to be community focused, but, you know, I think I should have a little bit of time to just me and the viewers, and then jump in on the other side of it, so you guys can give your piece into it. And I'll be in the server, I won't be in the other one. Yeah, eat your food. We don't need new gens, more so we don't need new gens, more so new games with great stories. I would agree. I've been saying that about Pokemon. I wish Pokemon would do way more like RPG stuff. But the problem is that either A, they don't think the fan base gives a fuck about it, or B, they don't give a fuck about it. Both do not bode well for us as the player, because I want more Pokemon. I think Gen 8 actually had a lot of potential for interesting Pokemon stories, and it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. That game was a step in the right direction, but I don't feel like it hit where it needed to be. I think world design wise, Scarlet and Violet will probably be fucking great if it's based off of the latter half of the DLC for Sword and Shield and Arceus is concerned. I think they'll nail the area design, which is like one of my biggest things. I want the story to be good, damn it. Because I don't think Sword and Shield's overall story is bad, but its main story is probably the most underwhelming thing. Like, I think the way they handle Hop is good. I like Bede, I like Marnie. I even like some of the gym leaders they do put some emphasis on. I even like some of the, that's why I hated the fact that their trainer cards had like these cool stories about them that we never got to experience. I still wish there was like a side story involving Gordy and Melody where you got to see like this family relationship, because they're in different versions of the game, almost as if they exist in different universes. Like in Universe Sword, Gordy became the gym leader and Melody just stepped down, and then in Universe Shield, Melody stayed the gym leader and Gordy just went to do his own thing. So I don't know. There's more stuff you could do with it. Yeah, visually, I'm not a huge fan of the art design for Generation 9, I'll give you that. But it's mainly in the characters, not the Pokemon. The Pokemon so far have been fine, but the characters, I would say, I'm like half and half on. Some of them are hits, some of them aren't. So yeah, I do like the fact that you can tackle any gym in any order, but my issue is, and I think I brought this up before, if you don't level scale, there's really no reason to have it open-ended like that. Like, why have an open-ended gym system if the levels are still locked into a certain one? Like, if the first gym leader is still going to be at first gym leader levels no matter when you fight him, there's no reason to go fight him now. Like, why would you do that? Like, there's no reason to fight him last, because the pacing will feel fucked. My issue with Gen 9, thick moms must be protected. Agreed. We need a mix of Mystery Dungeon, Ranger, Snap, Coliseum, Legends. Let's go in the main series game. Honestly, like having all 3 Pokemon games in 1 year. Snap, Legends, Diamond and Pearl. That was because Pokemon finally got back to spin-offs, proper spin-offs. Pokemon went for a while. Remember, you went from, I think, Gen 3 and 4 had a fuck ton of spin-offs. Even Gen 5, you had like Pokepark, Coliseum, Snap, the Battle Revolution or Coliseum games, depending on which generation we're talking. Troze, Conquest, Rangers. You had a fuck ton, Mystery Dungeon. You had a fuck ton of like side games, and now we've kind of devolved into like Pokken, which is old at this point. Snap, which is probably gonna be a one-time thing, because Snap is not a game series you can really do every fucking. I mean, you could, but I don't see them doing Snap that consistently. So we'll for right now we'll say Snap. I don't know what Legends is considered. Technically, Legends is technically a mainline game because of who it's developed by, but technically isn't because it doesn't fit as a main game. So I don't really know where you put Legends, but I guess Legends is like a half and half situation. So we'll say Legends, Snap, and then you got things like Go, which Go is old at this point, so is Masters, and then I guess Cafe Mix and Unite, which are all technically spin-off games that do fit into that circle of spin-offs, but it doesn't feel, how do I put this? It doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel like something that would suck me in either way. Like Unite is obviously for those who fuck with like the League of Legends type gameplay or are getting into that kind of gameplay. Snap is more of a chill game you play to just enjoy the scenery and the natural beauty of Pokemon. Pokken is a fighter that they're more like specialized. They're very specialized, I would say the spin-offs are. And I kind of wish we got more. I don't know. I kind of wish we just got more variety. Coliseum, I think almost anybody could pick up and play, which is part of the reason why I liked it so much. Although it was a hard son of a bitch. A Pokemon Tactic game would be similar to Fire Emblem, would be great, which is what Conquest is. Master EX is the best Pokemon game. One, that's highly debatable, Lightning, because people fuck with Go still a lot too. But whatever. Why did you just bought a copy of Pokemon White for $90? Why? Did you not have any of the Gen 5 games, Revolver? And if you didn't, why the fuck not? They aren't gonna shell out the cool ideas until they run out. Look at Journey's anime for it. No, we're not doing that. We're not even getting into the anime for that. We're not doing it. Ranger, I don't know why that series just died. To be fair, that series kind of came out of nowhere at the same time too. Pokken just needs a sequel, realistically. I think Pokken, you give it a proper sequel and refine the gameplay, it would be fine. But you have to. I don't know if they don't want to, if they're not in a rush, especially considering they're still. They still put Pokken in the fucking Worlds tournaments, even though Pokken really doesn't have that kind of fan base anymore. I don't think it ever. To be fair, it never really did. But it had more of a fan base back then than it does now. Let's see. But yeah, Pokken had its potential. It's just whether or not they were going to do anything with it. And it feels like they didn't do anything with it. Why in the fuck did you do that, Revolver? You must have needed the money. Rangers probably wasn't selling. Rangers is a very niche title. I think it's more niche than Mystery Dungeon. I think Mystery Dungeon was more open, was more like general public, whereas fucking Ranger felt really niche. And Conquest is even nicher than that. We're not gonna get into the anime. We're not talking the anime. You're not gonna get me caught up in that shit. But side note in the chat, oh well. I hope you at least got some decent money out of it since you already sold it. What was I gonna say though? You guys, has anyone seen any of the Gamescom trailers? There's been a couple games that have stuck out to me, some of which you guys should already expect me to be interested in. Others, you might be a little surprised by. There's been some decent Gamescom stuff. Nothing like too crazy, but there's been a couple of things that have caught my eye. The Sonic Frontier trailer, for example, which is like the first thing I'm going to bring up. I don't know how I feel about that trailer. Oh, there's a new Gotham Knights trailer. I guess I need to look at that at some point. And Dead Island 2. Dead Island 2, dog. That is probably one of the biggest what the fuck am I looking at games ever. So to give context, because some of you may not know, Dead Island 2 is like almost 10 years old. Dead Island 2 was teased with that, and it has a, and I'll give it credit. The first trailer for Dead Island 2 was pretty unique and interesting, but the game never came out. Like the game never fucking came out. Like it literally kind of had its trailer and then it got delayed and then it had the same trailer again and then it got delayed and then we just didn't hear about it. And so to see that game pop back up is a hell of an experience. I was like, oh, I guess this exists again properly. It's kind of fucking nuts. But to speak on Sonic Frontier, so Sonic Frontier, it's weird they call the new trailer a fucking They call it like a story trailer, but it doesn't really feel like a story trailer to me. Because, oh shit, sorry. I was replaying the trailer in the background, and I forgot how fucking loud that was. The story trailer, I'm not, even now, I'm still getting like, I get a lot of Zelda vibes from this game in terms of its inspiration and in terms of even in some ways the way it's designed visually, or at least let me present the hub areas, like the walking around and shit. Like the levels look like traditional Sonic levels, and I'm glad. The only thing I'm not really happy about with the traditional Sonic levels, I'll be real with you, a lot of them, and I mean a lot of them, reuse assets from like Generations still, and it's like Generations, Forces. Like I think I see something in there called like I see Angel Island. I see the Generations versions of Angel Island. I see fucking Green Hills Generations version or Forces version of Generations. There's one in there that looks inherently like, I'm not gonna say City Escape. Kind of reminds me of Radical Highway, but during the day. I'm not. I won't say it got me more hyped. I'm very. I don't know how I feel about it. And then the story side doesn't really give you a lot. It's just like, oh, this mysterious force is telling Sonic to get away, but Sonic refuses to and keeps pushing forward. There's that one sequence where Amy's trapped in like this fucking red cage, and then at some point, Sonic's arm turns digital, and they're telling him to like back off. But they call it a story trailer, but there's not a lot of story in the trailer, and it bothers me because I'm curious, but they won't fucking tell me anything. Also, as much as I would like to get I would like to get the Switch version. We know the Switch version is gonna run like ass compared, and hell, the game already looked like it was running. The game already looked like it was kind of struggling in the first early footage we saw of it. Like, what was that, months ago? Like back in May, I want to say, like around E3 time. So I can only imagine the Switch version is not gonna run as well. Also, what's up, Sora-san? How you doing, bro? I'm excited, but I'm also like concerned. I don't know. It's a weird spot to be in because I'm not happy about them reusing level themes again. I don't fucking like that shit. But at the same time, like there's a nut like I'm fuck with the combat. I'm fucking with the combat. I'm fucking with traversing the area. I'm fucking with the potential the story has. There's things I'm fucking with, but like, give me some unique levels, you bitch. Stop reusing fucking assets from games from a decade ago. Generations is like over 10 years ago. What the fuck? Why are we still using Angel? Like, and if you stop the footage, actually, you know what? Hold on. I gotta put this on stream for y'all. I've heard talked about Saints Row, but guys, please give me more. The Saints Row stuff, give me some more context on that because I'm not 100% sure on that. Also, what's up, DJ Mega Aim Productions? That sounds incredibly familiar. I think it's been a while since I've seen you, buddy. Oh, that's right. It has a super chat alert now, although I don't need it. There's a Skype feed. Who the fuck is using Skype anymore? Sorry, I haven't gone through my. I was adding a YouTube video source and I fucking saw Skype and it confused the shit out of me. I'm surprised they're making another Saints Row, not gonna lie though. Saints Row had potential, but they just never wanted to do anything with it. I want webpage, that's what I want. And then I want to post the link. And then I also want to get in my headphones so I don't blast the fucking audio all over the goddamn place. Saints Row is a game series I do need to get into. I just really haven't had the time. I've been kind of busy. YouTube Monkey? What? What the hell, Donnie? Also, hi. But what the hell? All right, let me do this. Whoops. No. Hold on. Lower the audio a little bit. Let's go about here. I'm gonna try to pick out. Fuck, there's no easy way to put this. I'm gonna have to like shrink this down a little bit. and then maximize it. Yeah, we'll do this, and then we'll move it. Fuck. I guess here? Actually, you know what? We'll put it here. We'll put it here. I think this works. Saints Row more like Saints No. Is that too loud for you guys? We're doing YouTube stream because it's been a while.
Submit.
Y'all gotta give me more context on the Saint Row.
Actions endanger the world.
See, that's fucking. Oh, why couldn't I not pause it like I wanted to? Oh, I could do that though. Hold on. That is Angel Island. That is Angel Island. Like y'all can see the assets, right? It's kind of going too fast and it's kind of blurry. But like that's Angel Island. Like, and I don't understand why are you reusing Angel Island? And then in a second you'll see them reuse. Isn't that fucking Green Hill? Why are we still reusing assets from Green Hill? The fuck? Why is the fucking highway stage? Yeah, why is this stage the only one that looks like new and original? And it actually looks visually kind of cool. The new Saints Row is supposedly woke. What? Why would they do that? Saints Row, I'm not overly into, but from what I've looked up on Saints Row was a very like cartoony, I don't give a fuck. I don't understand. But yeah, this is the only level that looks like straight out. It's not that I have a problem with Angel, but the problem is Sonic Forces reuse levels like themes and shit. Oh, Sky Sanctuary. Thank you, Lightning. You're right. It's Sky Sanctuary. But why is that the only one that looks new? And then you got this reusing of assets for a game that we haven't. The last Forces came out in what, 2017, right? Now these hub areas are all new, and I'm cool with that. I'm happy with it. It wants to be inclusive. What the fuck? I don't understand what's going on with Amy though. They're making the argument that like, I guess the situation here is like they're trying to keep Sonic out, but they're trapping, or maybe that's the idea that they were trapping all of his friends because they're viewed as like viruses in this world. I don't know. This looks pretty interesting. How do you make a woke Saints Row? Saints Row was all about kind of like being a goofier GTA, which still required you to be kind of like fun, which I guess that's not a thing anymore. And that kind of bums me out. And then his arm turns red here, which almost makes me think whatever happened to Amy is happening in the Sonic here, but like it's not prolonged enough to have a real effect.
You cannot run forever. Leave immediately.
It's like they're trying to expel him out. But then why wouldn't they just do the same thing to Amy? Why they got, I don't know. But see, it's hard to call this a story trailer. There's not enough story in the trailer to call it a story trailer. I'm kind of interested. I don't know what we're doing. I'm somewhat excited for it. I just want to see. All right, let's try. What is it? Is it Saints Row 4, right? Or is it Saints Row? I'll just type in Saints Row and we'll go with that. Oh God. What the hell did you do? I said Saints Row, you fool. I don't think I was meant to type in this webpage. But we're gonna try it anyway. Oh, it's Saints Row 5, that's what it is. Yeah, vague implications aren't enough. Agreed. Should we? I don't know if is there a good video that kind of represents the problem with Saints Row 5 or the reboot, which is essentially what it is. If not, I don't know. Right now I'll hide this. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to it. We'll come back to it. I need someone to lock down. Go to Senkaku Complex. Gotcha. Let's see. Is that a channel, I'm guessing? What's it? Sankaku Complex. Complex. That did not give me what I wanted to do. It hasn't been released yet. Oh, I gotta go to the website. Oh, okay, got you. I see what you're saying. All right, I'll hide this and go look it up real quick. I didn't know much about the Saints Row situation. Gotcha. I'll look it up. Hold on 1 second, guys. 1 second. Senkaku Complex. And then we'll do. Why did I get like a bunch of hentai? What the fuck? I feel like you guys. I may have been led astray. I'm kind of glad I didn't keep this up, because literally of the first 2 Google searches I got. Okay, yeah, this cannot be right. Is Senkaku Complex essentially just... What the hell am I on? Hold on. I'm so confused. I don't think that was the right name. I think you lied to me. Either that or it's like a version of 4chan. This is quite engaging. The chat, not the... Oh, God. Did Donnie just turn off sharing site? Just turn off sharing the site has hentai on there. Thanks. I'm glad I was warned. Jesus Christ. I wish you had just told me that from the beginning, Donnie. I think that would have been important to know. What if I go to the Twitter? No, the Twitter is... Whoa, damn. The Twitter is spicy as hell. Yeah, we're not... Goddamn. Shit. You know, Johnny, you could have just got the link for me. That would have made this a lot easier now that I think about it. Because all I'm saying is a bunch of porn. Like a lot of porn, actually. We're gonna leave that alone. Well, you're gonna have to link me the other one because I don't trust that other one. What I've been seeing is just a bunch of porn. Jesus fucking Christ. Hold on. Well, go ahead and get the link. I'm just looking for something real quick. Hold on. Sorry. All right. They're like 90% porn, 10% news. And you expected me to find this shit. I'm trying to think. Also, I guess while we're doing that, also the SpongeBob trailer. The SpongeBob trailer actually had a decent amount of gameplay. And I will pull up that one. I'm very split on the SpongeBob situation too, because Rehydrated wasn't a terrible game, but it wasn't as good as the original in my opinion. Like, if you were gonna play SpongeBob Alfred Bikini Bottom, you play the other one. What was it? SpongeBob. Yeah, the Cosmic Shake. That's what it is. I think they showed gameplay. I think there was gameplay of this, right? Yeah, there was a demo. Here it is. Yeah, here we go.
Have you seen?
No, there's ads. What do I do, Donnie?
It feels different. It is.
Yeah, it's culture for the most cultured individuals. You guys think you slick. You ain't fucking slick.
Chick intuition. It's different.
Hold on.
What's great about
Damn it.
Kroger's membership? Free delivery and double fuel points. Learn more at Kroger.com.
I'm in hell.
Are you really into SpongeBob though? Are you a SpongeBob person?
I've watched a lot of SpongeBob when I was younger, but you know, SpongeBob.
Okay, here we
you
go.
watch SpongeBob when you're older, but
Have you seen The Boys? Nah. You sent me the link?
Nickelodeon as a kid, and of course, SpongeBob was one of those series.
Okay, gotcha.
Do you wanna
I'm gonna copy this link.
speak as the familiar-looking guy?
And then I'll switch it out with this one in a minute.
Just chicken.
No, we need gameplay, damn it. This is definitely... Alright, hold on.
I'm not judging that.
This kind of looks like it's reusing Jellyfish Fields a little bit. Not completely. Like, you can tell this is off the Rehydrated engine,
Train
which
my
I'm
multitasking
half and half with.
because
It's very much using the Rehydrated as like the basis of its gameplay, which is fine. Even got the tiki heads are back.
it was really
And we're using the costume aspect from, what was it, the Revenge of the Flying Dutchman did that shit too? Where you had a bunch of fucking different outfits and whatnot. Although it like made the music stuck. No, I don't. I mean, YouTube Premium I don't have. And also I'm doing this off of XSplit, so I wouldn't have got it anyway.
tolerant.
Yeah, this is very much carrying, like, Battle for Bikini Bottom is very much the backbone of this game. Just based off of what we're looking at.
What?
Just visual, I would say visually, gameplay wise, they use a lot of the old mechanics and some of the use, even the tiki items and shit.
I mean, sweet.
I kind of wish.
Okay.
It also, I don't think you get to use anybody else but SpongeBob, which kind of bums me out.
Get out of here.
Because one of my favorite things to do in Battle for Bikini Bottom was play as like Sandy and Patrick.
You know the speed runs of this?
No! They put bottom ads at the bottom of the screen.
Oh yeah.
This is another one I'm probably going to wait for reviews before I touch.
Speedrunning right now
But I have my eye on this game.
was
But I know you guys also want me to, like, Unreal Engine 4 is probably being used again. Wonder how the Switch version will be like then. Ass.
of these evil creatures,
Also, does the cowboy outfit even give you any special ability?
and then what happened?
I know the karate outfit gives you kind of like a dash kick, but does the cowboy outfit even give you anything specifispecific? Because I haven't seen anything. Shut up, phone.
Strong. How do I get up here?
I doubt it.
I don't return games, and I'm going to return this game. Jesus Christ.
Of course.
This one looks like it has more polish on it. They also, oh no, they added the fucking circle. I don't know. Unfortunately, thanks to those fucking like X-Men Ultimate Alliance games, when I see like a circle of color under a character when they're walking, it just reminds me to that time period. And all those games weren't bad. I mean, even the Nicktoons United one I played was good, but like it just reminds me of a certain gameplay style. Also, that circle was gonna get fucked up in a lot of visual glitches, like we just saw a second ago.
Because
This is SpongeBob the Cosmic Shake.
some very long.
It's a new SpongeBob title that seems to be trying to carry on the Battle for Bikini Bottom gameplay style. I'm not in love, but the problem is I wasn't in love with it. He rehydrated, and it's obviously using rehydrated as a backbone,
They are.
and I don't know how I feel about this. Also, what?
Yeah. Oh, and fashion away.
How
Come on.
do I
Come on,
For you and Twitch is for me.
guys, just walk on the beam.
How do I get? What's
It's not Bikini Bottom.
the controls for that? Maybe?
Also, they're playing on Xbox, don't you know?
That's not my strong.
I don't know if I want this kind. This is kind of unnecessarily tight platforming for no good reason. It's a short section, so it's not the worst thing, but it's just weird.
A little bit.
Well, we gotta reuse assets, you know. Exactly.
It would be fun.
We gotta save the money.
Like when you fall down, it's like
We gotta save a bunch of fucking money.
7 hours later. I'm excited for the devs to play it themselves because we have them over, like I said, at 12:30, and I think they'll.
Oh my God.
One tiny step.
I'm just skimming through.
Glad that it's.
Well, I did with ads. Okay. Also, I just realized it's moving the fucking thing sideways. That's hilarious. Do y'all see the video moving at the same speed?
Not a big one.
All right, let's go. Let's try Saints Row. Let's see how bad Saints Row is.
Wasn't there like a tiny step button on previous game? It may be.
Also, why didn't they just bring back the tippy toe? Now that I think about it. All right, here we go.
Sanity.
Fall in line? What
Didn't get a bonus.
All right, let's do it. You instead the mini instead of one,
You
bro.
would never believe.
the goddamn motherfucking goddamn fuck?
Yeah.
All right, let's. This is turning into a reaction
I'm
page.
guessing there might be some music playing right now. If you, I turned off the licensed music.
Goddamn fucking shit.
There might be some music right now. I don't know.
Oh my God, what is this? What is this dialogue? What?
Insanity.
Fall in line? What the fuck?
Didn't get a bonus.
Actual fuck?
Man,
What the actual goddamn fuck?
you would never.
What is with
believe,
these
bro.
fucking? What's with this line?
Yeah.
I feel like this has been looping. Was I the only one who felt like
There might
that?
be some music playing right now. If you.
Oh, it did loop when I pushed back.
Music.
Goddamn fucking shit.
There might be
When
some
I hit the
right
back button, it pushed it. Okay.
Wipe, crap, and crap.
What is this dialogue?
now. Yeah.
Sorry you can't see me.
Imagine
I'm
what
hiding
started
behind
it.
the
I
game.
didn't notice when I was playing. So again,
Fall in line.
please don't be too harsh in the comments. The gang. Well, I'm guessing.
I just want to see the game.
You know what would make it smell even better?
Hey man, if you want a $300 waffle maker, you can buy with the exposure the idols pay you with. Don't expect us to chip in.
I've told you before, the idols are trying to build a post.
I went black. I've always been black.
Yeah? Then why don't you go run off and join the company?
I'm into showering. Are you gonna help me get the waffle maker or not?
As an investor, I don't like wasting money.
You're wearing a fucking bow tie.
Okay, I will throw in 20 bucks for a waffle.
Nina?
Good for 10?
Who helped you move your
This
fortune?
doesn't look that good either.
Fine, 15.
Considering this is supposed to be a new game, this doesn't look as good as I thought it would.
Presumably one that makes fucking waffles.
Hey, the wage slave is back.
How was your first
The
day?
wage
Were the other
slave?
mercenaries nice to you? You know, as far as hired killers go, I'd give him a 7.
You look like you could use a mimosa.
Thanks, Eli. Seriously, how's the job?
Also, I noticed these women don't like women.
Fundamentals don't change, just the uniform.
Or are they trans? Or are they
I don't have
thems?
to love it. I have to pay my student loans.
Or non-binary? I'm just not sure.
So I'm guessing that means the pay's good.
It's supposed to be. Got stiffed on my bonus today.
Dude, what the fuck?
I played a little fast and loose.
Yeah, it doesn't look good already. That's the one thing I noticed. I'm like, how is this a new title? If this was a remake of the first one, sure, but this seems like a reboot,
I was half expecting her to call me rough.
and it doesn't look
Take
good.
my badge.
Are we gonna make rent?
We'll make rent. We just gotta be a little more creative.
Last time we got creative, I got stabbed 3 times.
Hey, it would have been 4 times if Luna and I hadn't shown up.
It would have been 0 times if you were on time.
This is true. Look, this is really not a big deal. We just knock off a payday loan place. No one gives a shit if people rob those bastards.
You have a job now. You could actually just take the loan.
Eli, I don't do business with morally bankrupt companies.
You work for Marshall.
Brunch is a time for friends and mimosas, not debates on morality.
What the fuck is happening right now?
Come on, this is really fucking good, Kev.
Thanks. I was worried I added too much pepper.
No, seriously, this is perfect. The only way this could be better is if you put on a fucking shirt.
Dinner and a show, baby.
Oh,
Hey, brunch is good, dishes are clean.
Okay.
We'll grab a payday loan place.
And you know how we should celebrate afterwards.
Karaoke.
Yes!
Okay, so I got a cartoony jump again still.
fuck no, I'm not risking my baby over rent. We're boosting cars from down the street.
Oh, do we get to select a vehicle here?
Eli, I love that
I'm
you
just
worry
curious to
about
see how
what
far
you
this
do,
goes.
But I'm thinking acceleration is gonna matter more.
Your carbon footprint always matters.
Just take that yellow one.
Yeah, I just don't give a
I
fuck
mean, it looks a
about
bit
this.
bashed up. Is that real? Okay, fine.
Also, that car looks terrible. Oh my god, what the fuck?
Guard out front and the owner at the top.
Oh no.
Scuzzbag. I want some kick a dog. So, you know, fuck that guy.
I didn't like how the
Yeah, this dialogue is kind of
NPC that
ass.
was with you would just sort of jump into the car like teleport.
We're gonna cut this off in a minute. I think that's. It's only 4 minutes, right?
I don't know how I feel about that.
Okay, yeah, we're almost done. We're only got 30 more seconds.
So some of you guys might have seen this already.
One of these days,
You're
I'm
gonna
gonna
see
get
it
you to
again.
listen to music in the car.
Roger McGillicuddy's speech
are a
These are all like hippies. Not hippies. They're like, these are motherfuckers like you could tell live in LA. Because you couldn't go down the South and be like, yeah, these are real people. Fuck you. Fuck you and everything you stand for. My heart hurts, bruh.
Showtime.
Yeah, we're gonna cut this off. That kind of bummed me out. Yeah, we're not gonna talk about that again. That was an experience I would like not to do again personally. I don't need to search for bugs. If anything, I'll wait until until I have TSS on, and then we'll look at the bugs together. Because I feel like the bugs is a group reaction kind of thing. But I just want to get kind of a gist of Saints Row, of the reboot, and I'm just like, it's great. It's fucking great. Anywho, I'm trying to think of the other Gamescom games, because there weren't a lot that I was overly in love with, but like the ones I cared about. I don't know. It's weird because the end of this year is going to be kind of stacked in terms of games. And then I forgot about a lot of these other games that were coming. And then Persona also, and then Nintendo was like, oh, by the way, did you forget that Persona's coming? And then they're going to show off that new, what's it called? Everlast? The Final Fantasy-ish game that they have that's coming exclusively for fucking Switch. And, what is that? That's this year. I think it's what, October, November? Jesus. There's so much. And then Splatoon is next. Oh my goodness, there's so much. And then I got Bayo 3. And I need to know when Persona 4 Golden's gonna be on Switch, because that's getting bought day one. Then and also then they recently announced Disgaea 7 too, which seems kind of quick. I don't know. It feels like 6 kind of came out and then went so fucking quickly. Let me look at the chat. Go play Saints Row. Yeah, I also do have my Steam Deck now. How's your Steam Deck? Are you enjoying it, sir? I hope you are. You better be. You fuck. Harvestella. There we go. Thank you, Melvin. Appreciate it. Yeah, that one. It's been unfortunately, this year is not my best year for financial smart decisions, which is funny. Because yesterday I had the opportunity to buy a PlayStation 5, which I'm curious, can I still get it? I doubt it. They had the PlayStation Direct thing up, and I was like, let me see if I can get it in the cart. And I actually got it in the cart, and I was like, should I? Can I still get it in the cart? I'm actually on PlayStation site right now. I'm just curious. I highly doubt it. The way these fuckers have been going, I highly doubt I get this bitch in the cart. You act like I don't. Oh, because I still have it in the. All right, let me see. I bet you I can't buy it though. Yeah, it's out of stock. Yeah, why y'all acted like it was still like I could still pay for it? I couldn't. What you fucking lying for, you dick? All right, hold on. Let me back up. Oops, my bad. Let's go here. Actually, I could still buy the Horizon bundle right now. That's kind of funny. Huh? Maybe PS5s are now like becoming more readily available, because I can't get like a base PS5 now, but I can go buy the Horizon Forbidden West bundle if I wanted to. The problem is I've spent a lot of money, y'all. Y'all don't understand. I have spent a lot. Is there a reason to get a PS5 yet? Not really, which is kind of the reason why I didn't. I spent a lot of money. It's not like a Direct. What it is that it's called PlayStation Direct, but what it is that you can essentially buy PlayStation 5s from the site. And since you can buy them but you have to like log in under your PSN account, and then you can buy it. And I thought about it yesterday, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I have an Xbox One, I have a Switch. Might as well get a PS5 and complete the new gen collection. And then I couldn't justify it. Like right now, I have the bitch in my cart. And Horizon Forbidden West is a game I do want to eventually play, because I played the first one. And I've yet and I'm still looking at this thing in my cart. But like I said, part of it's because I've already spent a lot of money on home related stuff. And then the other half is just kind of like, well, there's nothing I need to play that I gotta have a PlayStation 5 for. Like Horizon, for example, I believe is on the PS4 if I remember correctly. Watch my dumbass look this up and I'm lying. I'm pretty sure it is. I think there's like one game that isn't. And watch it be Horizon. Watch my dumbass lie on here. No, it is for PlayStation 4. That's what I thought. There is a game that isn't. But they are, it seems like the PS5 is finally getting some more stock in, so they'll become readily available. I doubt you'll still see one in a store, but hey, now more people can buy the fucking thing. And I have the opportunity to buy it, but we're already going into what, year 2 of the PS5, right? Right? Hold on, let me go back in. I think we're at year 2, right? Hold on, let me make sure. It's so weird. The time frame for this console feels so off because I'm so used to not. Let's see. Yeah, we're going on 2 years. It'll be 2 years in a couple months because it came out in November 2020. It feels like it doesn't feel like it's been 2 years because no one's really had their hands on it, and there's been no real game you need to have a PS5 for. It's nice to have a new console because it's new technology and it's shiny and the games will look and run better on the PS5, but you don't really fucking need it. Doesn't make me any less tempted, but like I can argue the same thing for the Xbox. The Xbox, at least I could make the argument that, hey, I never owned an Xbox console. I need to fucking like get on this and give it a shot, like a genuine shot, and see if it's really that bad or if they're really that mediocre. And I think the conclusion I came to with the Xbox is that the Xbox is a fine console, but if you're someone who cares about like exclusives and you own other consoles, it doesn't really do anything for you. And Game Pass is a good value, but Game Pass is one of those things where it's like, I'm gonna buy it for like 1 month where I know there's a bunch of games I want to play and then never touch it again. And then I'll wait like 6 months and do it again. Valkyrie Elysium is coming out too. I'm not aware of that game, Red Dragon. Also, you want to spend money on the fucking figures. Also, Nintendo's uploading Monster Hunter Rise. What? They're uploading Monster Hunter Rise videos right now. What the fuck? Let me see. But yeah, I'm in a weird place because I can easily get it. I don't know, man. I'm just not in the. I can't justify it. And the last time I bought something, which was the Xbox, I think I've only really gone through one main game and I started Sonic Unleashed on 360 on the Xbox One X. Haven't finished it because I realized I don't really like the 360 version of Unleashed. And Psychonauts 2, which was a good time, all things considered. Let's scroll and see if we can get. But if there's any gaming related thing you guys want me to bring it up, you go ahead and mention it to me. Square's releasing it next month. Lightning, did you buy me something? You bought me Saints Row 2. Well, I appreciate it. I don't know when the hell I'm gonna have time to play it. I haven't even played the first Saints Row, which is a game you also bought for me. But let's scroll through some more content, shall we? Let's see. While my email notifies me of the game you just sent me. Damn you, email, you're too fucking slow. All right, let's look. It's weird because this year's been kind of a weird year for me personally. But as far as gaming's concerned, and I think we kind of touched on it in the Juices Loose situation, but like the Juices Loose podcast, but bro, what are Xbox players playing this year? Like realistically, if you own an Xbox Series X, myself included, what new content are you looking forward to? Because hell, the only thing of note I can think of recently is well, I say of note, but that's subjective. But I would say of note in the sense of like, hey, like Halo. Halo was of note. You know, Hellblade 2 would be of note. The newest Microsoft thing I've played is like fucking Cuphead DLC, and I didn't even play that on fucking Thank you for more Saints Row, Lightning. I appreciate it. And even that I played on Switch. So, like, realistically, you don't have a need to buy a fucking Xbox right now either. Realistically, and it kind of gets into a conversation I saw on Twitter going on that I thought was hilarious. Because it kind of goes into the Xenoblade. It kind of goes into, like, the JRPGs and Xenoblade. Someone went, man, I really wish Xenoblade... Xbox had more controllers to use than games to play. Well played, Revolver. Well played. The problem with Persona is that you could get that on Switch, and you could have been playing that on PlayStation 4. So it doesn't really mean anything. But what I was gonna say is Forza Horizon 5 Hot Wheels. Shut the fuck up. I knew you were gonna bring up the damn Forza. To be fair, the Hot Wheels DLC is probably the coolest Forza-related content I've seen in a while. Flight Simulator, I know people fuck with that, so I'm gonna leave you alone on those two, TSS. But there was a conversation going on, and I'm curious what you guys think about in the comments, where people were talking, someone was on Twitter like, hey, I really wish Xenoblade Chronicles 3 came out on PlayStation, because A, it would look and run better, and B, you know PlayStation is the king of RPGs, or JRPGs, and I thought about that statement for a while and then thought and went, wait a minute. That might have been true at one point, but when you think about it this generation, I would even argue last generation, do people agree with that statement that like that PlayStation was the home of JRPGs? Because realistically, I think I came to the conclusion PlayStation has been losing its Japanese audience for like the last generation or so, going into 2 generations now, because the PS4 was slowly losing its JRPG support for a while, not since the PS2. Yeah, it's true, because the PS3 was kind of a weird situation because the PS3 got more JRPGs. Actually, if anything, I think the DS became the king of JRPGs for a while. PS3, I would, if you said the PS3, I wouldn't disagree with you inherently. The PS4 really lost its Japanese support. Yeah, there was a bunch of Tales games. Definitely. Tales was highly supported. I'm not saying the PS4 didn't get JRPGs, but would you look at the PlayStation 4 Red Dragon and go, that's the king of RPGs, JRPGs, like comparing it to Sony, Nintendo, and Xbox, which we're not even gonna include Xbox. Hey, what's up, Orion Sword? We're not even gonna include Xbox because Xbox started getting JRPGs with the Xbox One, but it was playing a lot of catch up because it was so behind. PlayStation usually stayed in the middle where it got a decent stream of JRPGs, and I think Nintendo always fluctuated from getting either unique JRPGs, or getting some of the same JRPGs. Yeah, PlayStation 4, I wouldn't call it. Damn. I would say PlayStation 4 really isn't a JRPG king. Let's see. The PS2 was the last Sony console to have a lot of JRPGs. The PS3, I wouldn't say the PS3 was amazingly strong until late light. The DS was, yeah, that's what I would have said. The DS, I think, got more JRPGs than the PS3. The PS3 still had a hefty amount, don't get it twisted, but I wouldn't call it the king RPGs. Even the 3DS that for a while was getting a fuck ton of JRPGs, and now we've hit the point where the Switch has become the king of JRPGs. That would be my argument currently, that Switch is the king of JRPGs. To the dismay of anyone who doesn't like JRPGs. Yeah, the DS and 3DS had a lot, but I think currently, if you're talking currently, it's the Switch. The Switch gets the most JRPGs. The one, and I'm curious, do people think that PlayStation still has the Japanese market? Because it doesn't. Actually, it actively went out of its way to burn that market. PS2 was also the last Sony console with Sony having the most variety of their own games. Exactly. The PS3 generation is what started the whole walking simulator fucking cinematic game. And not saying all those were bad. I mean, people fuck with Uncharted heavy. People fuck with Last of Us heavy. People enjoy it, like the Ratchet and Clank, Sly Cooper. I guess we're not going to talk about Heavenly Sword because, you know, that was an IP at one point, and, you know, that was just fucking dead. Oh, fuck me, my jaw. And now it's just fucking dead. Actually, you know what? Since we're getting into like real conversation, and we're about an hour in anyway, I'm gonna hop on the Discord, the server, the Discord server. If you're not part of the Discord server, yeah, Infamous is another one. Jump into the call with me. I think we're gonna do. I think this goes in gamer chat. We'll put this in gamer chat. So if you want to join in the conversation, you can on the server, and people will hear you. And we'll have, because I feel like this part of the conversation is worth talking to multiple people about. Hey TSS.
Yo.
So
let's
yeah.
talk about fucking Denuvo on the fucking Switch, which is a fucking piece of shit. They had it announced for the PlayStation as well. Like the PS5 was gonna get fucking Denuvo. You know, haven't fucking Denuvo like realized that their encryption doesn't fucking work? It's like, you know, and not only that, you have like freaking games being poorly.
Real quick, you might need to explain that for those who don't know in the chat. Just giving context.
Okay, so Denuvo is a company that has that makes an encryption scheme for video games, and it's supposed to be, you know, anti-piracy and all that, and they touted it many years ago as this uncrackable DRM that can do any, you know, we're not gonna be hacked. They're not gonna pirate our games. And then the first game comes out and it gets cracked within 24 hours.
Actually, no,
yeah.
I just found the article on that, actually, ironically enough.
Yeah, and now and a few days ago they announced that they were going to come to the PS5, and now they announced yesterday or earlier today that it's going to be the Switch. And I'm thinking to myself, and it's supposed to, and they do it specifically. They're doing it specifically to combat piracy on the PC. And all I have to say about that is like,
good luck.
Good luck, because it's going to be cracked within 12 hours. And you will mean nothing. And also it means that the games will run even shittier on the Switch.
Yeah, I don't think it's not worth it. But I mean, that's the one thing Nintendo's always given too much of a fuck about, was the ability to like protect their games from piracy, even though realistically it's kind of a futile effort, because eventually it's going to happen. You're not really going to avoid it. The best thing you can do is just kind of roll with the punches on that situation.
Yeah, but it's in my opinion, it's just a waste of capital to even try this.
Yeah, some people, the way I always look at it is that some people learn from being told, and some people learn from trying it and busting their ass and going, oh, maybe that wasn't a good idea. And in this case, it might be they need to bust their ass and figure out, oh,
no, they got to save face by trying something, even if they have a catastrophic failure.
Yeah. Real quick though, I did want to throw out the question to you, because I know because I mentioned it before you guys had jumped on here about
sure, the
position of Sony in its Japanese market, because I feel like, and I've noticed this probably since. I would argue the PS3, but I would definitely
PS4.
I would definitely say the PS4 actively went out of its way to kind of like burn its own roots for no good reason. Because fucking when we're with the PS5 at this point, and it went back to the Xenoblade comment I heard on Twitter. I very much believe that Nintendo has become the king of Japan in terms of its own on the gaming side.
Yes.
And that's partially because Sony doesn't give a fuck. But I also think Sony was losing capital anyway, because you were making titles that really don't appeal to the Japanese market. And that's not to deny the success of games like Last of Us and Uncharted. I just don't think the Japanese market gave that much of a fuck about those type of games.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah, it's because they made the fucking bonehead decision to get the offices out of fucking Tokyo and go to fucking California, which doesn't fucking help. Having Sony censor their own games to the Japanese market when Nintendo has a freaking uncensored version.
Yeah, that shit always confused me. And then on top of that, I feel like, and I understand that when it came to profits, I think the States usually they make more money in the States than they did in Japan.
Yeah.
I think that was always the case, and it became more so the case in recent years.
Yeah.
I just don't think it was enough of a reason to justify cutting off an entire market, because that's what it feels like. It feels like they just said fuck it.
I mean, as I mentioned before, like several months ago, it's like it's a two-tiered problem. It's a problem with the fact that they are focusing more on the Western market, and also the manufacturing delays and problems with availability of the console.
Yeah, that's why it tripped me out when I realized that the PS5 is almost 2 years old. It'll be 2 years old in November.
And they're still making PS4 games.
Yeah, well, and you know why? Because PS4 has a bigger install base, and
yes.
And you can, and they're not, and they can't make enough PS5s to match demand. So why the fuck?
Yeah.
That's why a lot of these games are cross-gen. Where like
and this is like, and I would argue that this is the longest console. Well, actually, no. Let's see, longest console cross generation. Actually, no. That distinction goes to the Atari 2600, because that shit lasted from 1978 until 1992, outliving the 5200 and the 7800. That's the only console that outlived that was technically cross generation and lived past it.
Well, also real quick in the chat. Oh, hey Goggle. Also,
hey Goggle.
DJ man, I wouldn't say it's like the PS3 was a completely different issue. The PS3 was an issue of it was available, but it cost too damn much, which is why over the years that the PS3 got stripped down of certain features to make it more affordable, not only to the consumer, but so where Sony wasn't losing a ridiculous amount of money on the console.
Yeah, because you think about how much was stripped down from revision A to even revision G, right, or revision F. Those first like 2 years, the launch PS3 had a card reader, it had 4 USB ports, and it had hardware PS2 Emotion Engine backwards compatibility. So the first thing they got rid of the 4 USB ports. They dropped it down to 2, and then they got rid of the card reader. And that was in like revision B or C or something like that. And then you had the elimination of the hardware backwards compatibility with, I think, the C or the D revision. And then by the G revision, they took away software backwards compatibility.
Yeah. The PS3 had to be extremely cut down, and I get it because you were losing too much money and there weren't enough people interested.
Yeah,
also,
7 versions within the first 2 years, by the way.
But they had to do it if they wanted to save money. Also, hey Sleep and hey Red Dragon, if you guys want to interject, you can go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, I was letting you guys talk first.
Hey, no, go.
I was waiting.
What, Red Dragon?
Well, I was gonna say that. No, go ahead.
What, you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
No, you can go first.
All right. Well, I want to interject because technically, most of us, I'm mostly the PlayStation gamer more often than I say I'm a Switch player. You guys know I play on Switch. I mean, like, but I play on PlayStation more often than I say I play on Switch. Right. I pay attention to mostly a lot of games Sony has released. I would say it's not as bad as you think it is. I would say it's inconsistent, really inconsistent. It's more like inconsistent. I say they're outright doing what you think they're doing. I play because there's a lot of games I bought from Sony, from PlayStation, and for the most part, most of those games that they release, like some visual novels, has not been touched for the most part. And there are games in Japan right now, like there was a Falcom game. It's Falcom, Coronel Kaseki. When there's like a scene in there when they literally had a little strip club with a bunch of girls like dancing on a strip pole, like literally in nothing but in underwear in a bra, and that never got censored that never got censored. That shit was like straight up girls literally dancing on a strip pole. So I'm just saying it's very inconsistent. Sometimes the censorship is there, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you just maybe I don't know. Sometimes you don't trust everybody. Maybe you don't trust the word of mouth out there saying Sony censors everything when they don't. It's mostly inconsistent. I would say that.
But technically that's not censoring. Actually, if you think about it, some visual novels have, breast exposure, which was censored on the PlayStation, but not on the Switch.
Oh no!
No.
In that situation, I think he's more referring to not saying that it's not that there wasn't. It's more of that some things are. It's more like parody of anything. It's like, okay, you got a visual novel that releases on Switch and PlayStation. You expect them to both be the same in terms of what's covered and what's not covered, or what's shown and what's not shown. In some games, it's equal, but other games, I think Necopara is one of the better examples. For some reason, the PlayStation version said, no, this is too much, we can't have it, and did way more covering or just taking out scenes or features than the Switch version. And people were like, why? Because other visual novels, and which I think leads into Red Dragon's point, were left alone. So why pick on this specific one, but not the other ones? I think that's the issue. And I think that's what's pissing people off. If there was a consistent rule behind it, it'd be a different story, but it's not. And to be fair, I think the Wii U had similar issues where some games on the Wii U were censored for no good reason, but then other games weren't touched at all, and you'd be like,
Pokemon Mirage censors.
Yeah,
Pokemon Mirage censors on the Wii U.
Although I argue that was, I think on the Wii U that was Nintendo. On the Switch when it got ported, I think that was Atlas being lazy and not wanting to fucking change the game back. Because
I will say with the
go ahead, Sleep. Okay.
I will say with the censorship is that my biggest issue is that they don't censor first-party games, but they censor third-party games, which I don't get. Like The Last of Us has no censorship, and third-party games they get censored. Though
I think that's because that's a mentality thing. I think they view, for some reason, a lot of the games that get censored are usually like the anime type of games, whereas like a lot
Japanese
of Sony
game.
Yeah, whereas like Sony, where I would say Sony's first party is more in the realism side, and I think it goes into
Western.
Yeah, I think it goes into that whole argument that for whatever reason, blood and gore is okay to an extent, but like sexualization is too much. Although,
that's also an issue because when you play The Last of Us 2, it has a lot of sexual scenes in it.
It also has gore, to be fair, too.
But then again, in Japan, The Last of Us 2 got censored.
Yeah, it did get censored. I do remember that.
Yeah, but not in America, though. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's the point of the argument, because you're seeing that Japan is getting more censorship than the United States.
This isn't consistent. That's what it is.
Well, I think because Japan's always been a lot harder on like gory games in general, though. I don't think that's. I wouldn't say that's specifically a Sony thing. I think that's just how they are with gore games in general. Like if you've seen some of the censorship that was done to like Metal Gear, which was a multi-plat game, like Japan has a different standard for like realistic violence and blood and gore. Hell, fucking No More Heroes was censored in Japan, for God's sakes. Like they just don't. Gore is a different tier of shit for them versus like sexual anime shit. This is not. They're not equatable in Japan.
Yeah, that's why you see more girls with bikinis and all that, because it's more appealing, I guess.
You gotta understand too that, remember, the West is a little different from Japan a little bit.
Yeah, the culture, yeah.
Oh no. The West is the opposite, actually.
That's the problem.
No, the West is the opposite in that situation where we're 100%. We're 100% down. If anything, a game being gory in America is 100% amazing. Anime shit is considered like weird pedophilia type crap. Like that's why remember, that's why the anime had that negative stigma around it early on, like in the 90s and shit, where it was like, oh, you're watching that. that was the mainstream understanding of anime was porn. They just assumed it was all porn. So it's the opposite, where anime games are looked at as the thing you shouldn't show your child, but you can go get them a Call of Duty game real quick and think nothing of it. Which is it's a difference in culture, but it's also annoying as fuck because it doesn't help anything. Also, yeah, Donnie brings up a good example. Resident Evil gets censored like a motherfucker in Japan because Resident Evil is extremely gory. But that's only in Japan. The problem I think people had with Sony is that Sony was applying weird censorship rules even based off of what we currently know. Like we know how Japan handles like gore, but then they were also censoring Japanese games that are normally perfectly fine over there, and people were like,
Not only
why?
Sorry about that, Turo. I wanted to say something, but I forgot.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was gonna bring up Dead or Alive Extreme 3. Remember that issue where the game was all about the girls going on the beach and playing volleyball and all that, and Sony decided to censor the release date for America, and a lot of people decided to import the game because how frustrated they were that it was.
I don't know. I see what you're trying to say. I don't know if I would say censor.
No, it was censored because apparently the producer of the game told they were told by Tony that they were not going to be able to release the game, otherwise they would have to change the game and all that, and they didn't want to, so they decided not to release the game.
Yeah, but I think
you can still buy the game on Play Asia when you
but that's but the thing still stands that Sony told the developers of that game to not release this game because this game is has movies and all that shit.
No, based off of what you said,
you can still buy this still buy the game on PS4 on Play Asia.
Yes, you can still buy it, but the issue is that you cannot buy it normally like you
locally.
would
That's what he means.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. The core of the issue was the fact that it was it wasn't like the game not releasing in the States had nothing to do with like development issues. It was literally Sony said you need to change a bunch of shit or don't release the game.
Exactly. That was the issue.
That was the reason why the game didn't release in the States. Not because
it happened. It happened with Sega Kagura as well. I don't know if you remember.
Well, Sega Kagura's in a weird spot, mainly due to all that pressure they've gotten. And I'm real with you. I think for a while, Sony was the company you went to put your Japanese games on, and then also put them on in the West. So when Sony changed their policies and then moved their home base to the West, went to Los Angeles, California, it made it harder for a lot of companies. And some companies did what a lot of Japanese companies are doing now, which they just said, fuck it, we're just going to put things on Nintendo platform. But some companies were like, fuck it. Kind of like Sega Kagura's creator, who was like, I'm just not going to do it anymore.
It's also a real disconnect between the Japanese developers and Sony head, because you have to remember that the time difference is anywhere between 16 and 17 hours. And for the most part, so for the most part, if you can't a Sony developer can't just call Sony's offices in Tokyo. They have to wait until either like extremely late at night or extremely early in the morning to actually.
That's why you don't move your main company then.
No, I agreed. I think that's the problem.
That was the point. Yeah.
It gets into the point of the situation. That's why I thought it was funny when people were still in the comments talking about how, Sony is the king of JRPGs, and I'm like, I don't think that's been true for a while though.
There's also the fact that Japan doesn't care about consoles anymore.
That's untrue.
That's kind of.
Hold on. If we look at like the Switch and the 3DS and the PSP and the Vita, they're more geared towards like mobile games. So that's what I'm trying to get at.
Well, I think you mean more like
they still have consoles.
You mean more like mobile devices, essentially.
Yeah, mobile devices, pretty much.
I could see that argument. I wouldn't disagree.
And it's been like Nintendo has dominated. They dominated that field for 2 or 3 gens, I would say.
Nintendo's been in charge of that for like the whole ever since they did handhelds.
No, not just hand. I'm talking about like going from like the 3DS to like the Switch and stuff.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
but
no.
but to be fair, actually, the generational switchover would be the Wii U to the Switch, because technically that's the home console.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the problem, and to give, and I'll give Sony its credit. I think the PSP actually was a pretty promising system, and it did pretty well in Japan.
Yes, it did.
Well, it was also the fact that the users made it, you know.
There was a lot of RPGs in that console.
Well, I think Sony actually tried with the PSP, whereas the
They
Vita
tried, but the
Well, and
Vita
also,
just threw it out there.
it gave it was really being touted as a real mobile device because you can put a you could put
couldn't it get like 3G on it? I thought.
Yeah, because you could get a 3G modem and put a SIM card in it.
But once you
and also it had and also fucking the PSP OS had fucking Skype on it. You think about a
I forgot about
handheld.
that.
Yeah, think about a handheld. By the time that the PSP 3000 came out, they had fucking Skype on like OS 5.
not to talk shit on the Vita, because I think the Vita as a piece, it's weird. Sony always has these situations where you have a good piece of hardware, but like sometimes they just don't utilize it. And I think the problem, and that's what the Vita was. I think the Vita as a piece of hardware was great, but they wouldn't fucking support it. I don't think Sony understood handheld gaming ever.
Well, in the West, in the West, they just threw it in the garbage. At least in Japan, they actually cared about it.
Yeah, it was still selling for a while.
It was still selling, and I'm still fucking kicking myself because I could have got one for fucking $140 from like Akihabara when I was there like 5 years ago, and I fucking should have done it.
The problem the Vita had mainly was, I think, the advantage Nintendo had was that Nintendo had certain IPs that were handheld only. You know, Pokemon being the biggest example of that, where the mainline games were always on handhelds, so you always had a handheld system seller. Whereas all Sony really did was just take their well-known IPs and then just make handheld versions of them, which in itself isn't a terrible thing. The problem is that people are going to be like, oh, well, why the fuck would I go play Killzone on my PSP when I can play a better version of it on my console? Or like, I think it was a God of War Ascension. Gran Turismo, and then you had God of War Ascension. You had a couple of different like.
And you know what's fucked up? They never made. You know, I think one of the biggest Achilles heels is the fact that Polyphonic Digital didn't make a fucking Gran Turismo game for the Vita.
It would have helped, especially because Gran Turismo
it would have fucking helped.
Unfortunately, then again, you have stinkers like Street Fighter Cross Tekken, which already had a problem in the consoles. Then you have it on the PSP, and then you have all the deal.
The main issue is because the Vita did that thing where it was like, we're going to give you a pseudo console level experience on the go, kind of what the Switch was doing. The problem is that they never reached the same heights as their console counterparts. So people were just like, it's too close to the console for me to view it as a handheld, but it's not good as the console for me to want to play it over the console version. So what people did...
if it was like Nintendo...
Well, go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm saying that's how Nintendo always succeeded, because they can make quality games on a handheld or a console.
Well, and also considering the battery life.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to.
And also their history, to be fair.
I mean, if you think about it, you know, when Nintendo released the Game Boy, you have to remember that when you talk about the Game Gear, 6 batteries in fucking 2.5 hours versus 4 batteries in 14 hours. Make a decision.
Well,
here's the thing, TSO. That's a different timeline and different culture.
But that doesn't make a difference. The thing is, they were able to get cheap
my
hardware.
point is, when you release like a Vita or something like that, or PSP, and you compare it to a Game Boy from 1990, 1980.
We're talking about.
I would think the argument boils down to this: Sony emphasized themselves on power, which is why their systems were always beasts. Nintendo always tried to be more of like a power. They would be willing to dial back the graphical power of their system for the sake of like cost effectiveness. I think that's the best way to describe it. Nintendo was more Nintendo was more cost effective. They would rather give you a cheaper system that doesn't hit the same highs as like a PlayStation or an Xbox.
That comes from the mind. I think that comes from the mind of like the great Gunpei Yokoi, who made the Game Boy and freaking Wonder Swan and all that, where they just took obsoleted technology, but they made it work by making it cheap to manufacture, but also very efficient.
Yeah, and that's the thought process that Nintendo, I think, very much still runs with. Even the Switch,
Yeah,
Switch,
yeah.
because Switch, they had potential to make that stronger than it currently is. But
Yeah, because Tegra X1.
But then
Yeah.
you run into the money problem and the cost issues, and they were like,
Yeah.
they'll take the risk and put it on a lower.
Yeah, because if you think about it, Sony has had the problem of building over producing, or not over engineering their products, and that's why it's so expensive, and they got a loss. I mean, if you think about it, PS3 didn't make money until 3 years after the damn thing because the damn Blu-ray drives were expensive.
I thought it was.
Well, as the
Oh
other
no, you're
component.
right. It's 2009, right? 2009
Yeah.
is when they started. Yeah.
Yeah, they did not make a profit on the PS3 hardware until like 2009.
Which is around the time they started releasing the Slim. Didn't the Slim come out 2009 and 2010?
Yes, and also the Slim came out in like 2010, but also you also have to remember that they've had the manufacturing process. The manufacturing process they lost. They were losing. I think they lost like $200 off of every PlayStation. They were actually manufacturing them. At one point, it was like $200 or $250 lost for every console that they made.
And I always will say when we talk about the PS4 generation is a weird generation.
Yes, it is.
Because I argue that the PS4 didn't do anything that revolutionary in itself. What the PS4 really ran off of was good, marketing and the fact that its competitors completely shit the bed. And it didn't.
True.
It didn't. Because I would say when you look at the PS4, you go, "That's a solid system, like hardware wise." But like,
yeah.
But versus like when you compare the PS3, even though it was a financial like monster, you could say that console in the beginning was ahead of its time, like a motherfucker. But would you say would you make the same argument for a PlayStation 4?
No, because the PS3 had the cell processor, and the biggest problem was the fucking SDKs that were released for the early SDKs. A lot of ports were real. The game developers didn't know how to do the IBM cell processor call. Yeah, the SPUs right,
which is why 360 ports ran better, even though the PS3 was more powerful.
like you look at COD 4 on the 360 versus COD 4 on the fucking PS3. The PS3 ran like ass. And it wasn't until ironically enough 2009 when Sony decided to say, okay, here's an SDK that actually takes care of the SPU problem, so you don't have to fucking manually have to fucking do the threads to process all the damn thing. Yeah, it took them 3 years to actually write a comprehensible and freaking SDK that made sense in order for games to actually run great on the system. And that's a fail. That's a huge fail.
Well, and the irony is this was around the time Xbox was fucking up their console. And it's funny because compared to the PS3, the 360 was a broken piece of shit in terms of like as a piece of hardware.
I've had
but to be
at
fair,
least 5 360s.
Oh, sorry.
Wait, say what?
Over the years. No, so I've had 5 360s over the years.
Yeah, I don't know. I know very few people who actually kept their original 360 running.
Yeah, it took freaking
it
took Microsoft like 3 years to fix their console with fucking Jasper.
I think it's more than
2009.
3 years.
No, it was
4 years. Yeah. 4 years.
Jasper was the first revision to have HDMI, and they didn't even fucking fix the fucking Red Ring of Death shit.
No, that wasn't the Slim. Then that wasn't the black one, was it?
No, that's way after. We're talking about
okay.
We're talking about Jasper, the first revision with the built-in HDMI port. Because remember,
that one.
The first revisions of the Xbox 360 only came with component out.
It's one of the reasons why I don't give Xbox a lot of credit in the gaming sphere, because I feel like the console it's most known for is to me it's its worst console. Like fucking, I view the 360 as Xbox's worst console. The Xbox One also hits that same mid ground where it's nothing revolutionary, but it was fine. But it was a lot of bad marketing and handling, and then on top of that, it was weaker than its competition. And the Series X as a piece of hardware is great, but like from an like when you think Nintendo, you think Mario and Zelda. When you think PlayStation, you're probably thinking God of War, Last of Us, Uncharted, that shit. Xbox, you have like the same 3 IPs, which is fucking.
Well, my issue with Xbox is that they have all these studios, but they don't have games on. Like all their games are always on the horizon. They're never here. So like,
Go with third party.
you can buy
yeah.
studio after studio. It's like it's not going to change anything. If you don't have games come out.
I would agree because my issue is that if you're gonna buy studios, it's great, but like at some point the fans are gonna want to see the fruits of that labor, and as of right now, we've seen jack shit and all, and it makes people go.
Well,
people can't get excited
Remember
about
Rare?
people don't get excited about acquisitions. They get excited about the games that come from those acquisitions. So when you
Well,
act,
not only that, they fumbled on their own games. Like Crackdown 3 failed.
dude, that
Halo is
shit,
failing right now.
fucking State of Decay. I'm like, bro, every time y'all release like an IP that's from y'all, from Microsoft Studios, you always seem to get this weird, like half-ass broken fucking game. Your most successful game would probably be Sea of Thieves, as far as new shit.
Hold on. Rare, they have shitty things from Perfect Dark Zero and
Oh yeah,
Banjo,
but
Nuts and Bolts. Like
Rare,
those.
Rare at this point has been relegated. To, actually, at this point, Rare is just a Sea of Thieves developer at this point.
Well, Rare at
Nice.
this point. Well, if you think about it, freaking the real Rare is fucking Platonic Games.
That's
Yep.
true.
I mean, like, I remember what Terrell, you said like the 360 was Xbox's worst console because I think
In
the
my
Xbox
opinion.
One was. No, I feel like the 360 was probably its best console because it sold. It caught. I mean, like it was going head to head with PlayStation, the PlayStation 3, and it was actually
Well, that's
selling
because they
better
bought.
than the other.
They money
To
had
be
a lot of
fair,
games,
to be
though.
fair, the PS3 kind of fucked. Like PlayStation fucked up the
no,
PS3 when
I-
it
I-
launched because
well,
that price is crazy.
Well,
like,
let me respond to Red Dragon. I called
Okay,
it.
sorry.
I would say I didn't. Let me rephrase it then. I would say it's Xbox's worst console hardware wise.
Hardware, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Success wise, the Xbox One is the worst. The Xbox One's the
Yeah,
worst.
because because Microsoft even admitted that they sold half of what Sony did.
Yeah, and also what didn't help matters is forced Connect on the first like revision of the damn
Well,
console. You had to buy the
and-
fucking Connect, and on top of that, it's about as big as a fucking 1978 fucking Philips VCR, a JVC VCR.
Also DMR. PSS.
Yeah, that's true.
DMR is the worst part of that.
Well,
too,
no,
because they forced DMR.
You mean DRM?
Oh yeah, DRM. My fault. Sorry.
Well, it was that whole always online, and then the fucking Connect always watching you.
Yeah, but didn't Sony plan to have that in, but they took it up because
Yeah, but see, that's why I say that's why I don't give the PS4 as much credit as other people do, because the PS4 I think
Discredit.
No, I mean I don't.
You don't discredit it much because of the fact that they didn't have the DRM.
No.
I
I know. When I said I don't give
It also
PlayStation,
wasn't a movie
no.
console.
See, during that generation, Sony was the clear winner. PS4, Wii U, Xbox One, PlayStation was a clear winner. And a lot of people give Sony a lot of credit. The reason why I don't give them a lot of credit is because a lot of their success had nothing to do with the PlayStation 4. A lot of it had to do with Xbox going first, shitting the bed, which allowed Sony to kind of come out later and look like the good guy in that situation. And then Nintendo fucked up their own console with how long they waited to fucking announce it. Not only for that, they announced it, but waited too long to release it. And its power gap between, it was more comparable to a PS3 and 360 than the upcoming competition. Sony didn't fucking, to me, Sony, and hell, if you think about the first couple years of the PS4, what the fuck were you playing? The only games I could think
like
of,
fucking what Knack? That was about.
I think of Knack. I think Infamous Second Son was probably one of the better early games.
And then Rise, Son of Rome. That's pretty much.
that was 360. I mean, Xbox One. My fault.
Xbox. But my point is that
another one. Yeah,
is calling Sony the winner of that generation. Technically, you're right, but like.
It was another game.
They weren't really doing shit. It was more.
And they were still releasing PS3 games too.
Well,
they got by based on ports, pretty much.
They got by on ports and goodwill. They had goodwill because the other
because that's why they had the Persona 5. That's why they released it like a year after they released it. 2 years after.
Yeah, because it came out on the PS3 first, and then it came out later on the PS4. But yeah, fucking. That's why I don't give the PS4 a lot of credit. Actually, I think. I would argue the PS4 is probably their. It's hard.
Nah, I wouldn't say it's their
I
weakest.
think the
What would you say is their weakest
PS5
console
is
then?
the weakest.
Well,
I would say
weakest.
PS3, honestly.
Well, all right. Let's split it up as a. Let's go two ways about it in terms of success versus hardware. Actually, no. Let me phrase that. No. Games versus hardware. I'm sorry. And so, in far
What's
as
the weakest as far as games?
which is the weakest Sony console as far as games?
Well, we can't count now.
I won't count the PS5 because it's still too early.
PS1 maybe?
PS3 because like I said, up until 2009 the games were shit.
I agree. Yeah.
But after 2009, though, they were that's four.
They killed it.
That
But
was
that's
good
4 years. Yeah, 4 good years, but they also had 4 really shitty years. Because you think about it, the PS4 didn't really have any bad like performing games.
You know my
Neither
pro-
did
you
the
know,
PS2 and
know-
the PS1.
But you want to know what I would say? The PS3 has a better library than the PS4, though.
You have a better library, yeah, but in terms of like the quality of game ports, like it's the
Well,
worst.
no, I get. I see your point, but I mean, like, well, go ahead, Sleep.
When you say library, do you mean PS3 games for like exclusives or like games in general?
I would say, I would say,
Because if we say exclusive games, I'll say PS4 has that over PS3.
Yes,
but if you
Yeah,
said,
I agree too.
but if I had said,
Overall.
well, then my question, if I said overall library, would it have been different?
No.
Not really, because
Well, I would say this for certain because the PS4, like when it came down to certain games, they were mostly on a PS4, mostly sequels, not like new titles until later on in the PS4, like until the PS4 life cycle.
Yeah,
Most of the PS4 library was mostly sequels of previous games that's on PS3.
That's my issue. I think PS3 has a better library. Now, if you said the games ran better on PS4, that's perfectly fine. But I think you got a better variety of games on the PS3. That's
true.
That's because you still had games coming from the PS2. That's why.
No. I'm not even including those. I'm including just PS3 games. I'm not going to include the PS2 games. Just the PS3 games. I think you had a better library.
I mean, the PS4. I'm not saying the PS4 is not good at all. I'm just saying that the PS4 did have its issues, like say, like the thing sounded like a jet engine.
Yeah,
but that's a hardware issue, not a game issue.
Well,
Like,
no.
I'm looking at it from a technical standpoint where, like I said, the SDK really killed the PS3 for the first 3 years.
And I'm not.
Yeah, that's why. That's why you see. Oh, sorry.
No, and you're not wrong to say that, TSS. I just think, as a gamer, enjoying those titles, my problem with the PS4 is that you had nothing to play for like the first couple of years, dog. Like it was like dry.
It took a while.
It was dry.
But to be fair, a lot of people couldn't even afford it for the first 2 years.
It was the same problem with PS3. It was the same problem. It was
The
overpriced.
PS3 had a price problem.
Yeah.
PS4 had a games problem.
Yeah, those are two different things.
And also PS4 has no backwards compatibility, so that was a
big no. Yeah, that was a
big because
strike.
at least all revisions of the PS3 could play PS1 discs.
Yeah,
but you could not in this one.
PS2 games on the PS3. Remember that?
But later. That was later.
If you were an early adopter, you could
if you bought a PS2 within the first year and a half or 2 years, you either got like partial software emulation or full hardware emulation.
And then they had to take it out because it cost too fucking much, and they needed to say.
Oh, they could add it in now, but they're just being greedy.
Well, now it's a different story because now we have that stupid streaming service that doesn't really work.
And also I'll tell you this much. If you ever have a homebrew for the PS4 and you try to run some PS2 games on it, just sucks ass. Like try playing Gran Turismo 4 on that shit. It runs at like fucking 4 FPS.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible.
Firmware isn't that good,
I guess if we're talking success wise of the which is the weakest of success wise of PlayStation consoles.
I mean, we could just go by based on sales, I guess.
But
the PS3,
we know
no, actually
I'd say
from a technical standpoint,
PS4. I think-
PS1 had less.
Yeah, because the PS3 actually came back pretty strong in its latter half.
Yes.
I was about to say PS4.
I don't
but then
remember. I
again,
don't remember who
yeah,
who is
PS1.
who is officially the winner of that generation, the PS3 360 Wii generation. Because for a while I thought it was the Wii.
The Wii won. The Wii won.
And
The
then
Wii had one because it was 101 million.
But I think
It had
The
innovation
Wii was
too.
in first. PlayStation 3 was in second, and Xbox 360 came in last.
And it's mainly
Yeah.
because Xbox 360 started fumbling. It's weird. 360's hardware got better in later years, but its game library got worse.
And they lost a lot of partnerships too.
Well, yeah, because
Like,
they remember that was the other thing the 360 had over the PS3 in the beginning. They had a bunch of exclusive deals, like BioShock was
Yeah.
exclusive.
Dead or Alive, Ninja
They even
Gaiden.
had like,
Mass
exclusive,
Effect.
they had exclusive JRPGs too. Remember that too. They had exclusive
Yeah.
JRPGs.
Xbox's history with JRPGs will always be weird to me because they
Well-
like give an example. The Xbox One actually did actively try to invest in JRPGs, but I Xbox is a system I think that is so curated in its certain kind of fan base, it literally cannot get out of that hole. It's created this
But-
nasty hole.
But I would.
They never
Go
they
ahead.
never tried to appeal to the Japanese market. That's the problem.
They tried, but
Sony
the
and
problem
Nintendo,
is,
they came from that market.
Well,
though,
okay,
so they didn't have
And then
to
on,
try
then
that
on
much.
top of that, another death knell on the fucking Xbox 360 was that the PS3 was fucking region free for their PS3 games, while the 360 you still were region locked.
To be fair, and just to give
I didn't even know that.
yeah, it was.
They,
I
that
remember
is 100%. That is 100% true.
I only knew
Because
that
I could
because I
go.
bought
Because I could go.
Japanese
Yeah, yeah. Because it's like
even the
yeah,
Wii had a
yeah,
region
yeah.
lock,
Because
too.
it's like you go to like a hard off in like Japan, and you see all these 360 games. You're thinking, oh wow, I want to play them, but you have to buy a Japanese 360 because the fucking 360 at
That
home
makes
doesn't fucking
no
play 'em.
sense because you would figure Microsoft would be, all about region free.
No,
Region free didn't come. Region free didn't come until like the Xbox One.
The problem with the Xbox,
Okay.
the Xbox has never really gone out of its way to appeal. Remember, the biggest problem with the original Xbox is that fucking controller. The Japanese fan base was like, bro,
The Duke controller was too fucking big.
it was just too fucking big for they didn't really accommodate the Japanese gamer with its first system. The 360, they didn't have a fan base, so the 360 didn't do well either. Although they did try with I will say they tried with exclusive games, but people were just like, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna wait or just not play the games because there wasn't enough investment in that brand because the first console didn't do well, and then you hit the Xbox One where you already didn't have an established fan base. Like it never got.
And all,
They
well,
did,
and all-
but to give them credit, the latter half of the Xbox One, there was a heavy
Yes.
Japanese push. The problem
Yes.
was we're 3 consoles in, and people are like, "Bro, I'm too invested either into Sony's ecosystem, Nintendo's ecosystem, or the PC ecosystem."
I mean, you think about it. If you look at the chart, if you look at the sales charts for like the Xbox One in the first couple of years of its release in Japan, sometimes they wouldn't crack 150 units a week.
Yeah, I've never seen a console do that extraordinarily bad.
Also, there's an issue as well where Japanese players don't really like the UI for the Xbox. It's really bad.
I wouldn't say that.
The core,
No, that's what I
the-
heard. I'm not sure.
I wouldn't say that.
I wouldn't say that specifically, but it's quite funny
It's more
how
like a movie. It's like a movie type.
it's really funny actually. Do you think how the Xbox has actually turned around in Japan? Because considering that, PS5 shortages aside, the Xbox Series X has been selling well.
All right, here's the question: do you think if the PS5,
I wouldn't say that. Yes, I was going to say that since the stock was an issue, the Xbox was pushing and taking advantage of that market.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. Would you say the Xbox's success in Japan is due to the shortage or due to people finally seeing the quality of the console?
No, the shortage.
Maybe the shortage, but maybe also people being betrayed by Sony.
Yeah,
I mean, when you look at Xbox, like, what do you have to play? Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, you don't have
the Xbox.
anything pretty much to play.
The way I always say, I'll put it this way. I'll put. Say what, Red Dragon? Go ahead.
No, I'm saying there's still demand for a PlayStation 5. It's just that the shortage is kind of just was so hard, so I guess people turned to Xbox. Only reason I could think of.
Well, remember
The Xbox
now.
The Xbox has always had good multi-plat support. So any title, any title.
Well, and also
that
Game
wasn't-
Pass. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, you look at
It's
look at
actually-
how
it's-
successful. Actually, it's actually quite funny because you think about Minecraft, and you get like a kid a freaking Xbox Series S and play Minecraft on it instead of buying a whole freaking PC.
Yeah, like I always think the Xbox is a good multi-plat console. Like if you're someone
Yes.
who doesn't care about Sony or Nintendo exclusives, I could perfectly understand why you would buy an Xbox One, because if you're a budget
Xbox Series.
Oh, my bad, Xbox Series X. I hate the fucking naming convention. I hate that.
Console, yeah.
But fucking if you bought an Xbox Series X, you could use Game Pass and play a bunch of third-party titles for an insanely low price, and currently it is the strongest console out you can buy.
And on top of that, you can also gather up 360 games and
Yeah.
Xbox original games
It's
and
back-
play them on the backwards
Like,
compatibility.
Those are all good pros, but at the end of the day, does that really matter when you don't have like exclusive?
For core gamers, it matters a lot. For
Because
casual,
that's why Microsoft can build their brand, because they don't have staple franchises.
But
They have games that they can buy, but they don't last long.
Oh no, definitely.
I mean,
I would say this. I would say the casual fan base though don't give a fuck. The casuals don't care about exclusives. They never really.
You need a dedicated, because you look at Nintendo, right? You know, with each Nintendo console or handheld, you're getting Mario and Zelda, right? So regardless of what you do, you're gonna have a core base. So even if you drop the ball, you're still gonna have that money coming in. But Xbox is like, how long can we keep this train going though? That's the problem.
Well, realistically, Xbox for a while never made any fucking money, and the main reason why it stayed afloat is because of who owns Xbox. Microsoft has money for days. The only way the Xbox would stop, if we're by that logic, is literally if Microsoft said, "I don't want to support it anymore." Like.
Well, and also you have to remember that freaking they had like a freaking 80% market share in fucking IIS web servers in Japan. That's why if you go to a Japanese website and forget to put www, you get a fucking error. Like Microsoft servers in Japan, like their server division is fucking killing it right now, and that's the only way that they were making money.
Yeah, because the gaming, their gaming section didn't make money for a while. I don't even know.
I mean, it's always good to make money as a company, but it's like you still need that.
Well, I bring it up only because when people realize that, like, if we were talking like if they were like Sega or Nintendo, where gaming was their whole shit, they would have been out.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Microsoft's more than just a gaming company. It's more PC and all that.
To my opinion, the biggest contribution Microsoft ever made to the gaming industry was online gaming. That is the one thing they have always killed it at.
Even then, it was on PC more.
No, don't do that. You can't.
No. When they did it on PS3. I mean, when they did it on Xbox 360, it was a revolutionary. But
no, the original, dude, Xbox Live 1.0. That was a fucking. Was. I mean, think about. Okay, let's just put this into perspective. Let's put the three consoles that were out during that time, 2000 and 2001. Okay, let's tailor the tape. Dreamcast, all you had was a fucking modem. And then a broadband adapter was like fucking Star Ocean, and then you had to fucking spend like an arm and a leg for that shit.
Listen, real quick. We give Dreamcast his props because it was still. I hate that the Dreamcast was a good console, but they'd already lost too much money at that point to keep it slow. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah. PS2, the network adapter wasn't available at launch. You had to wait until fucking Final Fantasy 11 came out. And the only other advantage is that you can run Linux because you could spend like $300 and get like a fucking like hard drive pack or whatever. Microsoft on the Xbox, on the original Xbox, what you had was you had the power of a Celeron processor, but you also had built-in broadband, native 720p and 1080i output on majority. You could run a decent amount of games at that resolution. And on top of that, the Xbox Live experience that completely changed the way that gamers would
True.
play on console.
Yeah, like I will always. Regardless of how I feel about Xbox, the one thing I always will give them is the online space. They fucking nailed.
They started the online.
They that is their. To me, that's their biggest accomplishment is online gaming.
And the
I
homebrew
mean,
scene.
to a degree. To a degree, I mean, like if you look at Xbox, I mean, now Xbox throughout this whole run, I think Xbox is only being alive right now because of its services. I mean, what Microsoft have to offer is their services. That's the only reason I feel like Xbox is alive to this day, because technically, it's because of their services, and the reason why most like Sony and Nintendo are basically doing the exact same thing is to be because Xbox started it all.
Also, to be fair,
Nintendo
has that benefit of being nostalgic because of the NES.
Oh no, don't. But don't. I don't like using that as the argument because I feel
it's relying on it. To be fair,
but it's underplaying the accomplishments of Nintendo's games. I feel like when you do it that way.
Yeah, because if you think about Microsoft's claim to fame, they are their cloud services. I mean, they spent hundreds of millions of dollars to improve their cloud services, and actually, without a shadow of a doubt, they have probably one of the best backbone networks of any gaming company today.
I think every company has their pros and cons. The one, and since Mario Walker asked thoughts on the Switch surpassing the Wii sales after people saying it would fall 5 years ago, which gets into an important point because Nintendo has probably had the most roller coaster ish console. I mean, life between consoles you've ever seen. You went from being the king of the world to being a fucking laughingstock to then regaining a crown, then dropping, and then coming back to steal the crown for a fucking third or fourth time. But the thing I always gave Nintendo credit for is Nintendo was the company that was the most willing to take risks on their systems. Like realistically, if you told me in 2000 what was it 2000? Well, 2006 is when the Wii came out, but we'll say 2005 for the fuck of it. Let's say if you told me in 2005 that Nintendo's next system was going to be severely weaker than its competition, and its main thing was going to be motion controls with a remote as your main controller, compared to everyone else who was using a standard controller scheme, which by the way originated from Nintendo. And you told me that's what Nintendo was going to do for the next generation. I don't know how many people would have been sitting there going, "Yeah, they're going to fucking sell gangbusters."
Well, and also
that was a gamble.
And also, it's like the shoe is on the other foot because in the 7th generation, the Nintendo GameCube was the most powerful system that they made.
But it was the weakest in sales. Compared, even the original Xbox.
Unfortunately,
the disc they had.
Oh no, definitely. But that's the thing. Nintendo is always. That's another. I think that was more of a cost saving technique, and that's what burned them. Sometimes it works.
Because it was overclocked GameCube.
It was
more RAM.
It was. Nintendo will take risks with their systems, and sometimes it pays off, and sometimes it doesn't. An example of it paying off would be the Wii and the Switch. The times it didn't pay off would be like the Wii U and the GameCube. But that doesn't.
What about the N64? Sorry.
The N64 was a bad decision because they just went it was literally you had two paths: stick with cartridges, discs, and they picked the wrong path.
They lost a lot of third-party support.
Oh, they lost a lot. Oh, the 360 was a very much a turning point generation for them because of that decision, and they never really recovered from it. Even now, I would argue. Even like when you think about some things, think about this for example. The PS3 360 Wii generation had a fuck ton of either new IPs or new games come out that people absolutely love to this day, like Mass Effect and fucking BioShock. Even I think Borderlands is from that generation. And Assassin's Creed, and Nintendo didn't start getting any of those IPs. Assassin's Creed might be the exception. Nintendo started getting Assassin's Creed on the fucking Wii U. But they didn't get Borderlands until the Switch. They didn't get BioShock until the fucking Switch.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna actually respond to DJ Mega here. Nintendo ended up getting the last laugh because how many PlayStation discs today are not suffering from bit rot versus N64 cartridges where all you have to do is just fucking put some IPA on it and then the fucking game works.
Also, remember Resident Evil 2 was ported on the N64, so.
Well, if you look at MVG's video on that was a freaking crazy feat because that was a lot of like MIPS it was a lot of MIPS machine code to make that happen.
But still, that is an accomplished there. Like,
well, no,
all that on 32-bit cartridge.
Well, no,
it's a 60. Well, technically 64, but.
Well, no.
Yeah, but still, they use 32-bit cartridges.
Well, no, you're literally saying the same thing about how much it was an accomplishment. But that was I was just gonna quickly go back to my point real quick. Is that like I said, I think each console brings something different to the table. Sony is a weird beast for me because Sony kind of came out. So I would say Sony started on gambling. They gambled on whether or not they could get the PS1. Remember, PlayStation wasn't known back then, so really it was like as a gaming,
or
at
the newbies.
let me rephrase that in the gaming space. Let me rephrase that.
They were the newbies,
and so they had to take a risk with the PS1, and it paid off for them. And the PS2 came out and became an absolute fucking.
And also,
monster.
you forget too that they had a lot of support for third party as well.
Well, no, but they gained that partially through Nintendo fucking up, though.
Yeah, that's what I said. You know, Sony got a lot of support for third party, especially Square Enix.
But it was.
Oh yeah, they definitely meant that.
Oh no, definitely. The third parties would really what propelled PlayStation to new heights, and that's why it became a household name within like its first generation of being out.
I find it better. Sorry.
Which one? Let me see. You asked which one is more powerful, N64 or PS1? The N64.
Yeah.
Because the MIPS CPU in the N64 is better than the PS1. Also, because the N64 actually has a Z buffer and the PS1 doesn't. That's why you have the fucking stair stepping.
Ironically enough, when you think about it, a lot of the generations the most powerful console didn't always win. Like,
correct.
GameCube didn't win. PS3
Wii U.
The PS3 didn't win. The Wii U was kind of weird. The PlayStation 4 was the only one in recent years that made sense, and currently the Switch technically. What generation do you throw the Switch in? I guess is a better question.
I wouldn't say it's a part of Gen 9. I would say 8.
So it would be
8.
It'd probably be like the almost the end of the previous generation.
Yeah, just like the Wii U was.
So when you compare it, would you compare it to a PS4 or?
Yeah.
Okay.
PS4. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I would say a PS4 Pro most likely.
Well, it's a weird situation because when you talk about the Switch, I'm like, well, what king is it? What generation is it the king of? And I'm like, well, technically, it would be the king of the PS4, Xbox One generation, but it also shared that with the Wii U. But the Switch was out 3 years in the last 3 years of the Xbox One and PS4, so I guess technically that'd be another example of not the most powerful console winning a generation. And now we're in the new generation with PS5s and Xbox Series X's, and since the Switch is still technically going, it technically is still the winner, even though it's not a part of that gen officially.
Yeah.
I guess, but I was trying to get back to the strengths of the console. Sony, I don't know. And it kind of gets into my other issue with Xbox. Xbox I also believe is the generation and is the console manufacturer that started the money hatting practice that, to me, really fucked up the 7th gen, where they were like, well, if I give you X amount of money, you'll keep this on your console exclusively. And then they did that for a while, and that's what made that. And I think that's part of the other reason why the 360 was so successful.
No, the Switch. No, the Wii U is the modern day Atari 5200.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I
said that.
Mario Walker was in the comments.
Okay.
Also, DJ goes, Switch is part of Gen 9 for sure, just like the Wii is part of Gen 7, and the Wii U is part of Gen 8, despite all three coming out years before
the Switch is Gen 8.
I think, arguably, you have to say it's Gen 8. The way the way you look at Gen 8 for Nintendo is essentially Nintendo released 2 consoles in Gen 8.
People only counted as Gen 9 because it came out after.
Also, the Switch is not the modern day for
PS4,
5200.
Oh no, TS has got him on that.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, fucking if you had to get specific, you could say 8.5 generation if you really want to say that. But technically, it can't be considered Gen 9. That's the problem. Even though it's competing with Gen 9 consoles now. Which
Hey, Zobi's in the chat.
I know Zobi's in the chat. He's fucking.
Most likely, it's an unfair advantage because if it's basically compared to the Gen 9, it's already had the head start.
It has an insane head start. It had 3 years. It had fucking 3 years before, because it came out 2017, and the new console didn't come out until 2020. That's 3 years, and on top of that, it's sold disgustingly well. By the way.
Yeah.
So it's
again.
hard.
Sorry.
Oh no. Well, you're gonna probably respond to the whole DJ comment where he's like,
Yeah.
why can't it be? Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, the argument, what I would say about comparing the Switch to the 5200. No, when you think of the Atari 5200, it was a massive commercial failure and also had a lot of failures in it. Now you could say, you could say the same thing for the Joy-Cons, but the Joy-Cons were the controller, right?
Yeah.
The thing is though, regardless of the Joy-Con problem, the Switch still sold amazingly. Unlike 5200, where it had shitty controllers, a library of games that were less than 50, and nobody bought the fucking console.
Yeah.
But
It was
also
basically the Virtual Boy.
Well, no, because the Virtual Boy actually had less games, and also
Yeah,
it caused
but it
headaches.
still was a failure. Still.
Yeah, it was a failure, but I would argue it's like with the 50 in terms of like the 5200, and then you had the fucking box shit. You can look at the AVGN video. I don't even have to tell you. But the fact of the matter is, you had it was just a massive failure all around. Although the Atari 5200 did have something that no other console had before, and that was the fucking pause button. So the first console to have a pause button was one of the worst consoles ever created.
The irony of it all.
Yes, indeed.
And Nintendo's fell suit on the NES to have a pause button.
And DJ, just to mention the Switch library. The Switch library is an interesting fucking library, and it kind of gets into how the fans view it. So, because if you've heard me on Juice's Loose, you know there's a big contention of the Switch having a fuck ton of ports, and I'm gonna be real with you, it does. But part of that, I always looked at the Switch, and I've said this before, it kind of had to get ports because when you look at previous Nintendo consoles, they missed out on so much of those generations in terms of third-party games. So
PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 4, pretty much.
Yeah, although I think
like most of the games that came out on PS1 to PS4,
PlayStation ports. So for PlayStation games, so technically it was port central.
Wait, hold on, say it again. You got cut off in the beginning, Red Dragon.
No, I was saying that most of the Switch games were from PlayStation. When PlayStation had those games, they just ported those games to Switch. So I'm saying that most of the ports did come from when PlayStation had those games. So technically, they got ports.
Yeah.
Although late afterwards.
That's why I say when people talk about the Switch being port city, you're not wrong to say that. Like it's a true statement. But it's one of those situations where like it's because of Nintendo's weird history with a lot of those companies, where a lot of those games never saw Nintendo. If you're a Nintendo exclusive player, you never saw any of these games. Like think about it, Devil May Cry's first appearance on Nintendo was on the Switch. And I'm talking about like the first, and we only have the first 3 games, by the way. We still don't have 4, and we still don't have 5. Like Bayonetta's first experience. Well, Bayonetta's a little bit different. I won't use Bayonetta as an example. But same thing with like I think I mentioned earlier, like with Borderlands and BioShock. Their first appearances were on the Switch, even though those games are like over a decade old. Like, every company has their own hurdles to deal with. I think Nintendo's hurdles when it comes to that shit is you missed out on a lot of fucking shit, and so a safe financial bet is I'm gonna just fucking release old shit on you we never released and see how it does. And if it does well, we'll put out more, which I think is what Square's situation is. Square's gotten a good amount of return on their investments, So now we're getting exclusive shit from them like once a year now at this point. Even Capcom's making fucking money. Like a motherfucker now. Hey, we'll give you Mega Man 11. Hey, we'll give you the fucking the Battle Network ports and the X series ports. Like that's how they're using ports to gauge whether or not they'll invest in Nintendo, because Nintendo and some of these companies have had very rocky history. And now
Capcom and Nintendo have always had a good history, to be honest.
I don't know if I'd say good.
I want to say.
I mean, when you look at like Monster Hunter,
well,
that's
no,
been on the
but
Nintendo since the Wii.
that's also because Sony kind of fucked up that relationship with was it the PSP? I'm thinking of was the last time Sony had a Monster Hunter game.
No, it was the PS Vita.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to also answer DJ's question here, because saying that what games did the 5200 and the 7800 have? Did they have any strong titles? Well, first of all, the 5200, all of the games were just ports from the Atari 8-bit computer, which came out in 1979 and used regular fucking joysticks, Atari joysticks, and you could use a Genesis controller, by the way, too. And it was better fucking games because you didn't have to all you had to do was press a key on the fucking keyboard, as opposed to playing with a god-awful fucking controller. So if you want to play 5200 games, play the Atari 8-bit computer games instead, because it's the same shit. 7800, the only two games that there's only 3 games that I would consider actually no, 4. Let's see, Ball Blazer, Choplifter, the original Mario Brothers, and Joust. Those are the only 4 games that I would play on the 7800, and maybe Millipede.
Wait, hold on. When you guys say like the last Monster Hunter game was on the Vita, the last Monster Hunter game was on the PS4. Monster Hunter World.
No, we mean before like they switched over to Nintendo.
Yeah, because remember, a lot of people always look at Nintendo as the one who saved Monster Hunter's popularity in the West, and that didn't happen until there was this weird transition. It's funny because certain companies start doing that. Like I think I always bring up the Atlas example, that for some reason I don't know when the transition happened, but like Nintendo always got the mainline Shin Megami Tensei games, and then like Sony always got the Persona titles. But I don't know when the fuck that transition happened. It just turned into that.
It was the 3DS.
But
when we got to the 3DS, then
to answer DJ Mega again, only one of them were actually only the original Mario Brothers was on NES, as opposed to that. Choplifter was never on the NES, I don't think. Joust was never on the NES, and Bell Blazer is an Atari exclusive.
But fucking
that was also on the 8-bit computer and the 5200.
But yeah, fucking and there are certain IPs that are still kind of like that, where like, I mean, we're getting to the point now where everything is going to be on everything. I think that's really what we're trying to get to. The only thing that'll stop it is like technical limitations for certain consoles. But yeah, even give you an example, like the hand.
Okay, Choplifter was on the NES. Okay, sorry, 2 out of the 4 games.
That's part of the reason why I think the DS thrived so well as it did. Every company was putting some handheld like exclusive title on the DS. Give an example, Castlevania. If you were like a mainline Castlevania fan, you thought Castlevania died on like the Super Nintendo or the PlayStation. No, the PlayStation. But if you went on the handheld side, Castlevania was going on like crazy. Like you wouldn't stop seeing Castlevania titles. And then you had all the Mega Man spinoffs and Kingdom Hearts that we don't talk about because Nomura can't sit the fuck down. But yeah, the DS was made by a lot of its third-party exclusives, and even the 3DS got some titles that you wouldn't expect, like Resident Evil Revelations. People don't realize Resident Evil's revival started with Revelations, in my opinion. Revelations was like the first back to form Resident Evil, and it wasn't amazing, but it was a handheld title, and it was good enough to regain interest in that mainline brand. My only thing I never liked was there was no loyalty with things. Give you an example. Revelations is actually a best example. Revelations came out on the 3DS, and then it got ported to all the systems, and then it didn't get ported to Wii U. And eventually it did, but it got ported later. And the Wii U never got the sequel. It never got Revelations 2. And people were just like, how you going to use a Nintendo system to rebuild a brand, but then like completely leave it in the dust for no other reason than like no loyalty, which is why I say Capcom's relationship with Nintendo's always been kind of weird because it depends on the IP. Like Phoenix Wright has always was for a while up until recently was Nintendo exclusive. Like you could not buy Phoenix Wright anywhere else until recently. Now you can get it on everything else.
Well, and also like Mega Man 9 and 10, which was a WiiWare exclusive.
Yeah. But like it depends on how they felt because Street Fighter, for example, was actually Nintendo never got Street Fighter 4 unless you count the 3DS port, which was a very neutered version of that game. And even
This
now,
is the same. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Lightning.
No, I'm about to say, even now, Capcom is that type of company that would just hold out on a certain IP, and Nintendo has to go to them and just tell them, "Oh, you gotta pay us in order to release this game on the Switch." And I'm just like they did that when the GameCube with the Resident Evil games. Like they did a deal for like 5 Resident Evil games on the GameCube, and
it was 3.
I don't remember how much, but it was still
It's 0, 4, and
it was 0, 1, 2, and 3, and 4.
No, 3 was never on. No.
Yeah, it was on the GameCube. It was one part of the Resident Evil deals that Nintendo.
No, Resident Evil 3 has never. No, Resident Evil 2 and 3 were never on. They did a remake of 1, and it's called Resident Evil 0. Then you had Resident Evil 4, which was the brand new game.
Wait. No. Resident Evil 0 is like a prequel to Resident Evil 1. It's not a.
No, I'm wrong. It's 0 is the prequel, 1 is the remake, and 4 is the new game. Those were the 3.
No, but
it was 0, 1, and 4.
It was still like they still released Resident Evil 2 and 3 on the GameCube. So I assume that was part of the deal.
No, they didn't bring. Wait.
I don't
Yeah,
say.
it
Yeah, I
did.
don't say it.
It did. It did on the
Oh
GameCube.
yeah, he's right. No, he's right. He's right. I see it right now. He's right.
Yeah, it came out. It was 5 Resident Evil games. That it was a deal, and Nintendo apparently paid Capcom to release
I do
those games.
not remember Resident Evil. You say Resident Evil 2 and 3 are on the GameCube.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
they
is.
are.
The originals. Yeah.
Oh, well,
It's the best versions. It's the best versions.
Oh, they
yeah.
weren't They weren't like remakes. They were just ports.
Yeah.
Of course, the remake wasn't even thought about that. at the
No,
time.
because I just never remember 2 and 3 on the GameCube. When I hear about, like, actually Donnie brought up in the chat Capcom 5, that I also thought they included things like Beautiful Joe and fucking.
No, it was like the Resident Evil deal with Nintendo. It was weird. I don't know what it was exactly, but it was those 5 games, and Nintendo actually had to pay Capcom to release those games on the. It was kind of stupid when you think about it. They've been doing that even now with the Switch, where, oh, you gotta tell Nintendo to pay us to release Street Fighter or something like that. I'm just
Well, no, Street Fighter. Unfortunately, Sony has pretty much locked that series down.
Yeah.
No, but I'm talking about the
SF5.
collection, like even the collections and.
Well,
all
that was just weird. Like what was
No.
it? What was it?
30. There was a 30th anniversary one, but that's
No.
the
There's also that fucking the Disney
Ultra
Afternoon.
Street Fighter.
What about that? Remember that Disney Afternoon collection that had like the old Disney games that for some reason
Yes.
it skipped Switch for some reason. It skipped Switch for no reason at all, and we were like, why? And they never really explained it. I think we got it later, but it just didn't make sense.
Yeah,
Why?
a lot of people were pissed. Yeah, a lot of people were pissed.
Well, it's one of those. Oh, it's a bunch of retro games, so you can't tell me it's a fucking power situation. You just chose not to release it, and then you have these weird situations like now. I'll give you an example. We got DMC 123, right? 3 on Switch is the only version of 3 that allows you to do things in 3 that you can only do in 4, but it's the only version of the game that's like that, and I don't understand why. And then you had like the Mega Man collections, the original series X, and then the ZX, the Zero series, and now you got Battle Network.
Battle Network, yeah.
But like, those are the collections, and then you took Phoenix Wright and made that multiplat when you put it on Switch with its collection. Now it's multiplat. It's on Steam, PlayStation, and I believe Xbox. I think it's on everything now.
Bro, do you remember that discussion you had in Juice Podcast where you were kind of complaining about Capcom? Yeah, like I forgot what title it was, on the Switch that if Nintendo didn't pay them, oh, we were not gonna release the game. I don't remember what game it was.
I'm not sure. I don't even think it was that Nintendo didn't pay him. I think Nintendo probably published the game, and that's what pissed me off. Because
I don't remember.
hell, that happens with Square now with like Dragon Quest, Dragon Quest 11. Actually, no, the Dragon Quest remakes on 3DS. Nintendo published those, and I was like, "What?" Actually, I think Nintendo helped with the translation. And it was like, "What the fuck?" Like, Dragon Quest makes so much money in Japan, you would think you'd be more willing to release in the States. Now, I get that it doesn't make as much money in the States, but like, the problem, and I think the real problem with Dragon Quest is this. Dragon Quest is like Xenoblade. It's like a 100-hour game, and who the fuck is trying to translate over 100 hours worth of dialogue? And that's just in the main quest. We're not even talking about like post-game or side content. But at the same time, so Nintendo had to like shell out money to just get the game to come over.
That's my issue. Yeah, that's my.
But
issue.
that was Square being weird about.
And Capcom did that too. Yeah.
I don't remember the Capcom situation, so I can't really speak on that. But that's just
Fair, yeah.
that's developers being weird. I think every developer has done some weird shit before. Even recently, we're getting Nier Automata on Switch, which is a game that came out back in. Fuck, what was that? That was on the place.
2017, I think.
Was it?
I think. I'm not sure.
I don't
Hold
remember,
on.
but yeah, it's been a few years, and people are like, "Where the fuck did this come from?" All right, Square, but Square's also been really supportive of the Switch as of lately. We get a bunch of fucking exclusive titles with Octopath, Triangle Strategy, Live Alive. I'm like, and now we got Harvestella that comes out later.
Octopath.
No, all right, said it. But like,
okay.
What was it? Chrono
Cross.
The sequel to Chrono Cross.
Yeah, but that's more of a port.
Well, people are more pissed off about why the fuck haven't you released the first game? That's people's biggest issue.
Yeah, that's always been an issue since the DS.
Yeah, because the DS is the best version of Chrono Trigger, and they've never
DS
Square. Mm-hmm. And then you got but they've done that weird shit before with like Secret of Mana. It has that shitty remake that looks like ass. But then you got Trials of Mana, which is like the third game.
Yeah, it's Seiken Densetsu 3.
Yeah, and that one is fucking great. But it all hinges on each of these developers' choices when it comes to how they handle their ports and sequels.
On the third party, who you're dealing with, yeah.
Yeah, I'm very weird because I went like I'll give you an example. During the 360 PS3 era, I couldn't stand Capcom. Could not stand them.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, me either.
They were
especially they fucked up my dream title. Like I'm so mad.
They fucked up.
They were super anti-consumer back then.
And they fucked up almost every major title that came out. Fucking
on disc DLC. Let's go.
Street Fighter Girls Tekken, you
fucking Marvel's Capcom 3 was a fucking disappointment, and they released the ultimate version 6 months later, and everyone was pissed. Like, what the fuck?
I'm so mad because Street Fighter
Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter 4 was a return to Street Fighter, but you also had to keep buying new versions of the same damn game.
Just for balance issues, and I was like, what
no, I'm not. No, we're not gonna say that.
No, besides the new characters and all that, it also had rebalance thing, and I was just like, you could have just released updates for that. Like, you don't need to.
Realistically, didn't do that back then because if you think about it, original Street Fighter 4 and the 360. Remember, most people didn't even have a hard drive with the 360. You had to go buy like a 20 gigabyte hard drive. Because remember, there was the core version, and there was the arcade edition, which only came with fucking memory cards. Remember the memory cards?
And then fucking the Super Edition. Street Fighter 4 is a whole saga in itself. On top of the weird shit going on with Lightning's favorite game, the Street Fighter.
No, not that. That was my dream title, but it's nowhere near my favorite game.
Well, no, not your favorite. I don't mean it literally, but the point I'm making is that Capcom was at their literal worst during that generation.
Literally, when Street Fighter Cross Tekken was announced, that gameplay that was shown, give me that. Like, that was the best thing about that. And they just butcher it with gems and all this bullshit.
That was also during the generation where everyone thought they needed to do Western type of gameplay, and that's what they did. They all went that direction.
It was trash.
Whereas I
Holy
would say
crap.
nowadays Capcom is a lot better of a company. Even in Square will always be in a weird position with me because Square, I think I've said it before and I'll say it again. Low budget AA Square and below is fine. Big budget Square can go either back. They cannot get Final Fantasy right to save their motherfucking lives.
And I'm mad because I actually like 13. That's my issue.
Well, that's you having your taste. I'll say that.
Yeah,
That's also an
because
issue. That's also an issue if you like 13.
I love 13, but I hate the bullshit we had to deal because of
Well, the problem is that Square, if Square's making like their passion projects, like even the Dragon Quest 3 HD remake they're doing, looks fucking phenomenal. And then I looked at Final Fantasy 16 and went, "Where's the Final Fantasy?" It looks like you just made. It looks like you made DMC 6 and then called it Final Fantasy 16. I don't understand.
Honestly,
that was the same issue with Final Fantasy 15. That's the same issue. They're trying to copy.
No. Fucking Final Fantasy 16 looks like fucking Skyrim. The fuck out of here.
Or Dark Souls.
What were you saying, Sleep?
No, good. I'm done. Good. You're good.
Yeah, but fucking, I don't. But like that's that. But when I look at Neo: The World Ends with You, when I look at Live Alive, when I look at the other, I'm like, oh, this other shit's great. Why can't your highest successful titles get this kind of love and treatment? God damn it!
No,
yeah, you want to know why? Because Square is publishing them, they're not actually programming them.
Exactly.
That's the fuck.
As long as Nomura is not involved, they don't care.
Well, Nomura is the Kingdom Hearts hell that people have been through, which
that's my issue. Everybody's treating him like the Kojima of Square Enix. I'm just like, no, we don't need that.
It's mainly because, well, for one, he's still part of his company. That's the first thing. So you're gonna deal with Nomura, even if you don't want to deal with Nomura. He's still part of Square.
But he will never reach Kojima's levels because he's not. We're not seeing a fucking fetus in a womb. He's not that crazy yet.
My issue is people are praising him like that. I'm just like, no, he's not a good reader. Hell, fucking no.
I think the fans know that though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like, have you even seen Kingdom Hearts 3? Like, oh my god.
No. Let me be fair towards Kingdom Hearts 3. Kingdom Hearts 3 is not a bad game.
I'm not saying this.
No, but I need to make this important. When people talk shit about Kingdom Hearts 3, people need to understand something. It's never that Kingdom Hearts 3 was a bad or terrible game. Kingdom Hearts 3 is a disappointing game. And it's only disappointing if you play the other Kingdom. If you've even played just the first two mainline Kingdom Hearts games, it's a disappointing game. But in terms of as a game in itself and what you're experiencing, visually the shit looks beautiful. And like as a game, it's fine, but as a Kingdom Hearts sequel, oh, you can go eat a dick. Absolutely not.
Nowhere near as caliber.
Let me ask you this question: Are you looking forward to 4?
No, I'm not looking forward.
No, oh my god, no.
I am looking at 4, but I'm not looking forward to it. You gotta the nonsense that went with 3 irked me so much that like I'm still a Kingdom Hearts fan, so I'm still gonna look. I'm still gonna look in Kingdom Hearts' direction. Unfortunately, that'll never. It's kind of like with Sonic. Think about it. The last good Sonic game we got was Mania. Mania was the last, and that's technically partially old shit. That's not even Sega stuff. That's Christian Whitehead that did that shit. So I can't even fucking say.
But it's not even Sonic thing.
But when you look at, but guess what? I still looked in the direction of Forces when it was dropping. I still looked in I'm looking in the direction of Frontiers. And even with my issues with that game having weird fucking reusing assets from other games, which wouldn't bother me as much, but Sonic has always been known for having interesting level design and it not feeling that repetitive. And I think the main reason why it bothers me in Frontier is they just reused assets in Forces, which was 3 years ago. Actually, no.
And in Generations as well.
Actually, it was longer than that. I think Forces came out what, 2017, didn't it?
Yep.
So it was 5 years ago.
October.
It was 5 years ago, and they were still reusing fucking assets. So I'm like, why are we doing this? So that one irks me, but I'm still looking in the damn direction. Even the SpongeBob situation, I think Rehydrated was okay, but like I said, if you play the original game to me is still better overall. And I'm just like, The new one looks fine, but it's another. I'm watching. I'm gonna watch them. This is how I am. I'm gonna watch it. Whether or not you get me,
You
to,
know where you
whether, or
know
not
where
you,
it-
whether or not you get me to put my hands on it and invest money, that remains to be seen.
But the thing is, you're not that invested as much as you used to be.
Yeah, but that's also because it depends on the game. Like Kingdom Hearts, that was a saga that's finished. So new saga maybe we get better writing. That's a false
Also,
hope.
this is your favorite character, Sonic. We're talking about Sonic.
Well, no. In Sonic situation, I'm always gonna look at Sonic. You just not.
Yeah, that's the thing. That is because of nostalgia.
But I
you
would
have
say
that
I would
you
say the
wouldn't-
same. I would say the same thing about Pokemon. Pokemon. Well,
or Mario or Zelda. Or
no.
any-
If we're talking about
With Pokemon, it's
Pokemon you grew
With
up
Pokemon-
with, yeah.
well, it's not just that. Pokemon's always had good games. It's just that
if you're
as the series goes on,
if you're a Pokemon fan, your opinions of those games differ. Like
yeah, like,
there are
Gen
people.
5 was definitely the peak of the series.
Yeah, if you're a Pokemon, like if you play Pokemon consistently or religiously, your opinions of those games will wildly differ from people who just play it casually. Like they pick up a game every like 5 or 6 years. I'm like, so you've missed like you missed like 2 or 3
Yeah.
generations or some shit. Like
I am like that, to be fair.
I don't think there's any inherently terrible Pokemon game. I can't think, at least in the mainline series. But there are games I absolutely I don't like. What?
Yeah, I mean the only missteps I would say would be like Gen 4 because it was too slow, like Diamond and Pearl is too slow, and Gen 6 because they had that save bug in Castelia.
And that's just on a technical aspect. Now, granted, I think Gen 4's was worse only because Gen 4's affected your entire playthrough.
Yes.
Yeah, true.
Whereas Gen 6 is, and they did eventually patch the bug out, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but it was very difficult if you had already had crashing to actually get your save file back.
Well, yeah. But I'm just saying, like, a newer player now picking up, like...
Well, that's, of course, assuming that the eShop is still going to stay up to get the patch.
That's true.
Because remember, unless if you bought a late... If you bought a version of X and Y that was a later cart revision, you're not screwed. But if you bought it day one and you try to get the DLC, the patch update without having like a homebrewed 3DS, kind of fucked.
Wait, hold on. Sormo said I think Generation 6 is the worst game. It's too easy.
I would agree. In terms of, like I said, it depends on how you judge it. If you're judging it as a Pokemon fan, it's the worst generation. That's
why they
the
force you to use XP share, right?
Well, I think that's all modern games realistically. Like Sword and Shield forces you to use XP share too. I think Sword and Shield had more.
I think the issue with Generation 6 is just not interesting. I think
Gen 6 it doesn't feel done. Like they still could have done more.
Oh no, definitely.
Yeah.
That's the one generation where people were like, "Bro, where's the Z version at?" That was like the first thing people were asking for.
Yeah, the sad part is they couldn't even finish Zygarde until fucking Sun and Moon. And that's kind of a fucking.
You know what I'll say? I would say Gen 6 needed what Arceus is. Like that should have been the Arceus really. It's Gen 6, so we could have that the story that took place 300 years ago.
No, it was 3,000.
3,000 years ago.
3,000.
3,000. I don't know why I get that mixed up.
Because
you always remember the meme will make you. It's 300 doesn't sound long enough. It's been 3,000 years. There we go. Now it sounds long enough. But fucking
but it just doesn't feel finished.
No, it's not. I think everyone agrees Gen 6 is not done. I think Gen 6's only goal was to translate to 3D. That was the main goal they wanted to nail.
And that sucks.
And they accomplished that goal. But man, that game suffered because of it.
Horde battles. You're talking about dropping to like 30s.
Yeah, the games weren't.
Yeah, to me, Gen 6. Is boring
I will always give Sun and Moon credit for trying to be different. I just don't think. I think they should have committed further than what they did. I think Sun and Moon is like in a weird middle ground where you still have a pseudo gym style setup and a pseudo Elite Four and shit, but like it's surrounded by more like lighthearted basic ass activity, which is fine, but like it's still too close to Pokemon fare for me to
That's
be like,
what like Gen 9 is gonna be.
Yeah. Well, it comes down to me when it comes to Gen 7, just that when it came out of Sun and Moon was a fine game, but then Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon kind of just rewrote characters and just decided, oh, we're gonna make Lucifer a good character now.
yeah,
Like, that just kind of irks me.
yeah. Gen 7's first game is better for story, whereas the Ultra series is better for challenge. That's the way I always phrase it. And Gen 8, which is funny because Gen 8 has probably the most controversy of the modern games. I think it's my favorite new generation. Like if we're going 3D era games, it's the best between Gen 6, 7, and 8. Gen 8 is my favorite of those three. Gen 8 just gets a lot of shit because of the decisions it made and very poor choice of words coming from some of the producers and directors.
No, blame the fucking interpreter on the treehouse.
Well, yeah, and unfortunately, because Sword and Shield I don't think is an inherently bad game. I think Sword and Shield has a lot of good shit in it. It has a couple things I don't like. Like I don't like its overly linear level design in the main game. The DLC does fix that, but it's the fucking DLC, and if you don't buy the DLC, you'll never know. And on top of that, it's like now we're getting into a new generation. People really don't have a reason to invest.
The whole nationalist kind of fuck threw it up.
I don't think that was a bad decision. I think the way they
But they did it in Gen 5 though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but the fan
base
base took it really hard
because how it was explained. It was explained that they did it so they could focus on working on animations, in which the community said we're going to take the worst animations in the game and use that as the baseline of their argument.
Yeah, it didn't help the situation.
Well, I think it was a bad argument anyway, because I'm like, you're comparing the lowest budget animations, but then you won't go get fucking Hyper Beams animation, go get Giga Impacts animation and tell me that shit looks bad. Well, you can't. Or go get the new moves animations. Well, you can't do that. But you use the double kick animation because it was easy. It was an easy target. Which is why I said the argument shouldn't have been made that was to improve animations, because everyone's going to look at you and go, no, you're fucking lying. Well, they're not lying.
Animation was...
Go ahead.
For me, like, animations was never the problem with Pokemon. It's always, like, post-game shit. The fact that we're still getting two versions of the same game, pretty much.
And
Game
yearly
Freak lagging in
release.
story. Yeah, yearly releases. Like, Game Freak needs to just say fuck fans for a little bit and go the same route they did with Gen 5.
The problem with that situation always boiled down to two things. One, Pokemon is a marketing machine. So to tell the games to slow down also means you're telling the anime to slow down, to tell the fucking card game to slow down.
That's when you introduce, like, side games, to alleviate that problem.
Well,
Pokemon has the same issue that Sonic has, where they have to have a Sonic game. Back in the day, they had to have a Sonic game every year.
Not the same.
No. But I'm talking about like when you compare like Sonic Adventure 2 or Sonic Heroes, the space and the time frame between those releases is kind of the same as Pokemon. Back in the day.
No, but the point we're making is that Pokemon, being the conglomerate that it is, in order to get new of everything else, like new cards, new plushies, new anime, all that shit, you need the games, because the games are providing the new Pokemon, the new characters, the new setting. Like that's even Journeys is still going to regions in the games. Like those are all things,
and it still needs to feed off of game lore to demonstrate
or just new Pokemon, or just
Johnny, I agree. Yeah,
or new Pokemon. Or new Pokemon in general. Like that's unfortunately Pokemon's. And the funny thing is, I think the games are the least successful aspect of the series. Like I think they make more on. I think they make more on trading cards. They make more on plushies. They make more on merchandising in general.
Yeah.
But the games are the core of the machine.
Wait a minute. I don't think it's a weird thing to have high standards for Pokemon.
Who said that?
I mean, like, to a degree, I would say that.
Well, when you look at, we always go back to Gen 5. Like, it gave you story, like side characters got support and everything. We got all new Pokemon and everything.
And they gave you amazing post game.
Yeah,
I mean, to a degree.
So it's not unfair to say we should have standards for it. I think we keep lowering standards, actually.
I mean, like, to a degree, if you look at Unova compared to, say, Galar, Unova was like linear, but you had different paths. Like, you can go any, like, you had like didn't feel linear when you play in Unova. When you was playing Galar, it was just a straight line, except for the wild area. The wild area was big and vast and all that stuff. But when you go into Galar itself, it's mad linear.
Yeah, and to the point where I think it has like one slightly devolved path, and they were like, "Bro, you really went off the beaten path to find this item." We are just like, "Bro, I went into a divot in the road, and it took me maybe 3 feet, and there was a Pokeball there. That is not an alternate path. That is you." Like, it doesn't even look natural. You did that because you put an item here. Like, I would say, but I like I said, I think Gen 8 makes up for it, and I think the DLC, especially the Tundra. The Tundra, I think level design wise was fucking great. And I'll give even credit to Olive Armor. I think Olive Armor level design wise was great, and it very much feels like Scarlet and Violet is taking from that design, and that's the part that I'm excited about. My issue is, are we still gonna get that linear ass fucking Pokemon characters who only got like one trait, and like you have to read up on other shit about them? Because I would say Galar's cast of gym leaders were actually pretty interesting. What was the problem? You didn't put it in the game. It's on the back of their fucking league cards. Why are there not bruh? If y'all had side quests in Pokemon, that would help so much. Where it's things.
Hey, Raihan Gym. Yo, Terrell, let me ask you this. Do you remember anything from Raihan's Gym? Because Raihan's Gym was probably the boring gym in Galar.
It's one of the hardest gyms in the game though, because of the double battles and how he uses a weather team.
Yeah, no, but when you look inside the gym, it just doesn't feel like a gym.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, aesthetically, you're right. It doesn't. I will always remember Raihan. But see, and that's what makes me mad, because Raihan and a lot of the gym leaders show a lot of personality through their animations and cutscenes and shit. The problem is they're just not used. That's the other reason why people like Gen 5 so much. Gen 5 used its gym leaders repeatedly, inside and outside the gym. One of the most boring things I think. Huh? Oh, okay. Yeah. One of the most boring things about Gen 8 is that you had these cool ass gym leaders, but they only stayed in the gym. Actually, that was the problem with the majority of the gym leaders in the series. They only stayed in the fucking gym. You're like, bro, I get that your life as a gym leader, but like this ain't it. Like this ain't
it's the same problem with Gen 4 as well. Some of the gym leaders are cool, but they stay in the gym.
It's a problem with the majority of the series.
Gen 4 is a slugfest.
No, but I'm talking about the gym leaders. Gym leaders are actually interesting to me. It's just that
every gym has interesting gym leaders.
To me, like I said, it's
the problem is whether or not if they're used well.
And they're not used well.
And a lot of them
I think they kind of did it with Gen 7 as well. They used a lot of the...
You know why? Because Gen 7's a different kind of game. Like, Gen 7 isn't what I consider like a traditional...
Like to be fair, like I'm gonna say right now, I think my favorite gym leader in Gen 4 is probably Gardenia. But at the same time, I understand why people don't like her.
I like her design.
As design-wise and characterized, it's fine. It's just they didn't do anything with her.
Gardenia's favorite best trait is actually from the anime. Like, the game, she's
I
pretty...
haven't watched the anime.
The games, she's boring as fuck. The anime is... the game is hilarious.
Because she's only in the gym. You don't see her outside.
What I'm telling you is that's an issue with the main series in general. That's not an exclusive Gen 4 situation. The majority of the Pokemon games do that. With a few...
That's the issue,
with some exceptions.
That's the same issue you have with Gen 8, where the characters won't leave the gym and they don't have anything to do in the main story.
Gen 8 tried to get them back out the gym, but didn't commit to it.
Exactly, that's the issue.
Like Nessa, you meet Nessa you don't meet Nessa in the gym. You meet her outside of the gym. But the problem is, you talk to her once and then she goes to the gym, and you're like, oh, well, that's kind of disappointing. Versus like Misty in the original Red, Blue, and Yellow, Red, Blue at least. You met her, she was like, you had to do that whole gauntlet and do the bill stuff. No, it's only in Yellow, I think. Where she's up, I think she's in like the middle of a date or something. You have to go get her.
No, that's in Gold and Silver. That's Gold and Silver, though.
Yeah, that's in Gold and Silver.
Oh, you had to. Oh, that's right. You're right. That
In
was
the main
that's-
game,
my point is that was an example of giving the gym leaders more character, because it tripped me out that like we have these crazy powerful characters and the only thing they do in life is just like fight people, whereas like
I think the Elite Four, like they use them a lot more than the gym leaders, to be honest. But we see them outside of their their positions all the time.
yeah, the problem that I've always had with the Elite Four, they only use like one or two of them. It's never the
Cynthia and
well,
maybe
no, and then you saw Flint. You saw Flint outside the gym.
yeah, Flint.
But you didn't see like what was his name?
wait,
Aaron?
Cynthia is Elite Four? I didn't know that.
No, he means champion, but still,
Champion. Okay.
But still, you wouldn't see like you see Flint outside the Elite Four.
It's not Game Freak being scared to commit though. I think that's the Pokemon Company.
I don't know. I think the problem is that Game Freak tried to commit and people didn't care for those games. Like think about it.
Problem is,
when Gen 5 came out, it was inherently lambasted for being how different it was. And then
even though it was pretty much it was a brand new version of Gen 1 pretty much.
Yeah, well, yeah. And then retroactively it's gotten better with age.
I dare say Game Freak is more afraid of the fans. That's what it is, I think.
Well, the problem is you have a franchise that is literally built on the backs of like your fan base. And
the fan base is crazy.
Well, because the fan base doesn't give a fuck about traditional RPG mechanics in Pokemon. They care about new Pokemon, new regions, new gym leaders to fight. Like,
and yeah, they also care about keeping the Pokemon that they got.
They care about the casuals more than the hardcores. Which
one thing I'll say is that I think Gen 5 got so much love now is because Gen 6 through 8 is kind of bad, which is kind of sad though.
I can see that.
That's the main reason why it's appreciated.
I can see that.
And Gen 4 unfortunately is in that part too, unfortunately.
Oh no. Gen 4 Gen 4 is before Gen 5. But
but still, it's still bad, unfortunately. It has a lot of potential.
But it's more bad. It's bad for a couple weird design reasons and technical reasons, like how a lot of Gen 4 mons you can't get until post game, or the fact that the game inherently runs slow, which if you play Platinum, it kind of fixes some of those issues, but it doesn't necessarily fix how you can get certain mons earlier. Well, not all of them.
Kind of locked it, yeah.
Or the fact that you can't get any fire types. I think there's only 2 fire types you can get in Gen 4, which is Ponyta's.
It's always been an issue with Pokemon is that fire types, unless you have a fire starter, you're not gonna have a good time with
I think the problem is that a lot of fire types are low key dangerous as fuck, and so they don't use them, and so they're like considered either pseudo legendaries or late game mons like Growlithe. Growlithe you can't even get in the original like Red Blue until like mid game, I think, at the earliest. And in most cases, like the post game, not post game, like it's like I think Blaine's area, Cinnabar Island, I think is like when you can actually get Growlithe consistently. Fire types just seem to have a weird spot, and it depends on which gen you're playing. Some gens are better with it, some gens are
Gen 5
worse.
was great, yeah. Gen 5 was really good.
But I realize we have been talking for a bit now, so I'm gonna end this out. But I hope you guys enjoyed in the chat, and I appreciate all you guys in the call for shooting the shit. I didn't realize we had gone on for 2.5 hours. God damn.
Hold on 1 second.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Oh my god, holy crap.
But
the volume was so high, my fault.
Wow. But tomorrow, for those who don't follow me on Twitch, I will be on Twitch. You have no idea what the fuck I'm doing on Twitch, but I'll be on Twitch.
Xenoblade.
Probably.
I don't think so. You did say that this is your last week.
Prince Revolver, thank you for the $20.
Or probably Smash.
Thank you for $20. I appreciate boob money. What boobs do you think I'm spending this on? You think
go see a girl. Go see. There are plenty of girls you can go.
Listen, with all these OnlyFans and shit, you can't afford no fucking $20 ain't enough for some titty. What you talking about, bruh? Lord Almighty. That's besides.
Oh, babe.
That's besides the point. Anyways, I appreciate the support regardless. Don't ever get it twisted. I appreciate the support. Yeah, this week it'll be my last week for a few weeks, and then I'll be back in a few weeks after this week. But yeah, tomorrow I look forward to some streams. It'll probably be Xenoblade for the next few days. Actually, realistically, 'cause Saturday is definitely gonna be Xenoblade 3. Tomorrow, which is why I almost don't want tomorrow to be Xenoblade 3, but I'll figure it out.
What about Smash? Just
I will figure it out. Don't worry about it. It will be figured out. But thank you guys in the call. Thank you, Lightning, Melvin, Red Dragon, Sleep, TSS, who's muted so he can't hear me. But, anyways, appreciate you guys in the chat. Mario, Prince Revolver, Navy, Blue Suicune, Donnie. Hold on. Make sure I'm not missing anybody. DJ. Let me see. And then I think I saw Zobi earlier. Just everybody, appreciate it. But with that being said, we're going to cut it out. So thank you guys. Lots of gameplay to win. If you want to join future calls and Discord chats, get on the fucking server. You're not asleep, Revolver. You just gave me boob money. How are you asleep? The fuck?
That's my YouTube channel.
You gotta get that money.
Ooga booga booty.
Oh, wow. Get out of here. Anyways, lots of game. Play to win. Thank you guys for watching. And I will catch you guys later. Peace. Yo!
Wash your hands.
Wash your motherfucking hands.
Wash your motherfucking hands.
Okay, that may actually